Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. This is War Commander Unshackled, and this is the end. And this is the end of Workshop Hacks. And tonight, we have so far on the panel, we have, of course, David the Douche, Dark Shadows. We have Deja, we have Lady Warrior, we have the wonderful Forbidden Fruit, and myself, the immortal Dr. Phil. The maintenance is currently going on. It's been going on for about 35 minutes or so now, depending on how badly Kicks I fucked it up. Although they are about 4 hours late. I was 30 minutes late, so how's that for irony? So we'll go straight into, before I do the, what do you want first? Would you like the update notes, the Gear Store update, or the Securing Workshop Tech Part 2? While we're waiting for the game to come back up.
Now, let's do the update notes first and get them out of the way.
Alrighty then. Come here, you bastard. Update notes, update notes, update notes, update notes. As follows. General changes and fixes for August the 10th. The Gear Store update, which I'll go into in a minute. Invasion number 7, Phase 2. Starts on Friday, the 10 o'clock, and ends on Sunday, August the 13th at 10 o'clock PT, all kickside time. Update to the 25, 40, and 90 challenge bases. The Legion base will be available August 14th. The Elite Titan base on August the 14th for components and the usual. Omega Titan base, August the 14th for the usual. Elite Hydra base, August the 15th. Omega Hydra base, August the 15th. Elite Sandstorm base, August the 16th. Omega Sandstorm base, August the 16th. Elite Hydra base, August the 15th. Please mute yourself, please mute yourself, please mute yourself. I can hear myself. I don't like that. Elite Sandstorm base, August the 16th. Sorry, Steve, I got to mute you for a minute because I can hear myself. Please mute your YouTube while you're in here. Okay, update to the level 70. The 70 aircraft. What the hell is a 70 aircraft base?
Shadow Ops? Is that Shadow Ops?
No, those are believers.
No, what the hell is that?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Victory condition CC only. Bases on the map for 14th, 15th, and 16th of August. Victory awards 8 million thorium. So it's a middle base between 60 and 80 by the looks of it.
Yep, it's a new Thor base. Interesting.
8 million thorium. But doesn't a 65 give like 15?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That shit makes no sense.
Maybe they meant to say 50?
Or 18, or 20, or somebody far-botted that one.
Yep, somebody foobarred it.
Agreed. Update to the aircraft bases to keep concurrently with the difficulty tar curve. I don't like that. That's always bad, because they always fuck it up, and now it's going to hurt. But okay, all players have been granted 3 faction unit unlocks. 10 Liberators, 6 Spartan ZK, and 4 Acolyte unit unlocks. Which means you got to build the fuckers first. Because if you don't have shit, you still got to build them. Improvement to the trophy animations, irrelevant. But 3 new trophy animation settings have been added to the menu. Off, outside battle, and on. Pretty pointless, but alright.
Reduces lag.
Well, so they say.
I don't think it's pointless. I think it's a great feature.
Yep. Weren't we just talking about that last show?
I believe so.
Yeah. Interesting.
But it's something they have to have in the pipeline. Yep. They've had to have it in the pipeline. It's just coincidence that it's come out now. Fix for securing the workshop. We'll go over that shortly. All trophies have been secured and are no longer cheatable. All trophies have been stashed and will be located in the buildings menu under the War Trophies tab.
Okay.
Well, what about the one that everybody lost? We no longer have. That was the first onslaught.
Then it's gone.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
All tech pop-ups will no longer be triggered when logging into game after being disconnected. That one, we'll have to find out and test that for ourselves before it'll come out. War Dog's alpha training component correctly spawns 3 low-level dogs when the War Dog's health is reduced below 10%. So we've actually got a few more fixes than I was expecting. Usually I expect 1, maybe 2. But the securing workshop thing is a big thing that we'll go over in a moment, right after the gear store run through. Further Special Forces tech is available again. Expert Hailstorms, Expert Howlos, and Commandos with respective rare custom components. Hailstorm tech, Howler tech, Commando tech, all available for this month at the lowest price ever, which means they're going to be expensive than you have gotten them before.
Yeah.
Right? Double the price.
When it comes to these guys. PvP seasonal items, hybrid bombs, heroic component, increases damage to buildings by 20% and adds 1 second of concussion to attacks for Oren. Again, for Oren, hardened armor reduces damage from all sources by 30%. And heroic training increases acceleration by 100%, movement speed by 25%, reload speed by 25%, and adds 50 plus range.
Wow.
Ooh.
So for those guys who were saying Apollos and Orin was a piece of shit, you can now suck on my middle finger. August exclusive items, all of the Spartan ZK tech, the Phalanx tech, the Hailstorm tech, Howler tech, and Commando tech are all in there for this month and this month only. Items removed, Bonesaw tech, Disruptor tech. And that's the wrap-up for the gear store for this month. Good luck. Oh, shit. I didn't want to close that window. I wanted to open it. Nobody saw that.
Saw what? We didn't see a damn thing.
Good.
No, Devo, they don't suck. I like Apollos.
I liked Apollos, and then I stopped playing because I'm a sensible person.
They have their advantages.
They actually do have their advantages.
And this is what we've all been waiting for since last week.
Woohoo!
As the majority of you are aware, cheating is an ongoing battle of whack-a-mole. Hang on a minute. He said most of that last week, but okay, we'll go over it anyway. WC team works diligently over the past year to address cheats being used in the game, one of the most prevalent forms of cheating revolving around the unit workshop tech. Through perseverance and long hours of hard work and dedication, we have finally come to the crossroad where we have tackled this wicked beast, ensuring that the unit tech is secured. With that being said, the following updates being applied for this specific cheat are being addressed. A quick deep dive into what they're doing, what players will experience, and what you should take from this update. When a player logs in, their account will be checked for tech unlocks, quantities, research levels. These totals will be checked against the data which we can verify on our side to determine which tech is cheated and whether tech is equipped above maximum quantity. In summary, verifying all tech unlocks to weed out the cheaters from the non-cheaters, allowing us to clean up the bad cheated data to reflect true information on all player accounts. Platoons will be removed from the world map to ensure all cheated tech is properly removed from all platoons upon login. Any platoons that are on the world map will not have tech properly validated on login, so we're manually sending platoons home to ensure that everyone has had their slate wiped clean. Any component which was not unlocked legally will have all equipped tech removed from units, even if there is one valid tech on the unit, to ensure that all cheated tech is properly removed and techs equipped are valid. Saved workshop designs. While we clean up all cheated component tech, workshop design saved will not be affected. These will be untouched, allowing all players to edit at will. They will still follow the game rules in place for allowing tech designs to be placed on units to ensure they are meeting all criteria. Component verified unlocked equipable quantity meets the number of legitimate units that can equip said component tech, and that the component tech is applicable to the units they apply to. That's an overly convoluted answer to a simple question. It basically means all your workshop designs are saved, but will be validated against the current data that they have. Tech validated on login. The game client communicates all information with servers upon login, validating all component tech on an account. While players may post screenshots showing that they can still cheat designs in the workshop, they will be unable to equip the designs.
Oh, I hope that's true. I hope that's true.
I'm guessing we'll find out very shortly.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
The maintenance is liable to last for 120 minutes from the time it started, and it started 45 minutes ago. Now, it could go longer, it could go shorter, or you could have multiple maintenances between today and tomorrow to fix any lingering problems. So that, ladies and gentlemen, as they say, is that. Questions? Comments?
If it works, it's going to be fantastic.
Yes, if it works.
If it works, and that's what everybody's waiting on. It's like, okay, the maintenance is finally here. Let's get it over with, but do it right so we can get out there and play. And let's see, if somebody can one-shot kill my jug again with their howl.
I mean, there are only 3 words I really have for this specific thing. Even though I don't play, it's about fucking time.
Amen, brother.
Yep.
I mean, if this bullshit hadn't have continued as long as it had done, I'd probably still be playing. But the amount of fucking dumbasses and people and morons and idiots that I have encountered with this bullshit takes the fun out of the game.
I look at it more like this is the last time they've actually closed a big hole. I mean, there have been holes that they've closed before, but now this is the one where, you could drop a juggernaut with all this crap coming out of the workshop, and now you can't, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. And Hunter, to answer your question, if are there players out there that would come back? It's really hard to say, huh? Nobody. Dr. Phil's already said he doesn't plan on coming back. I don't foresee Shadow coming back as much as we would love to have him come back, but I don't foresee him coming back. Other ones, it's hard to say. You'd have to ask people that that have quit if this is one of the reasons they quit, and if now that they're fixing it, if they're coming back.
I can neither answer nor not answer your question. That's all I can say.
Yep.
I know who's worked on that fix, and that's all I'm going to say.
And let's see, William, if you're caught cheating, will they crater them? They're not, according to the post, they're not cratering anybody this time. What will happen later? Only Kix can answer that question. I don't know. He did not address anything for the future if by some chance they can do that.
The only thing that I can think of hypothetically on a hypothetical basis, and none of this is confirmed by Kicksite, is they put this thing into place to attempt to catch people doing this again. Mm-hmm. Because people will try and do this again, and they will try and fix holes, and they will try and poke holes in things that they know they can get around. Like trophies for visual shit. Like having that stupid level 50 fucking 4 base and only being a 35 in reality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's visual. It's all visual.
And this is a huge hack, huge fix for them. And if it works, if they do it right and it does work, it may lead to them being able to fix some additional hacks or cheats or whatever you want to call them that are still out there, because we know there's other ones besides that one.
Yeah, I would agree. Speak up, Steve. I didn't hear a word you just said, buddy.
Unmute yourself.
Yeah, I just unmuted it now. While they're actually doing this, what they're doing is opening loopholes for other hacks to be created. So they'll close one hack and leave the loophole for another hack to be exploited.
That's the problem that we're going to encounter next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's it got left open?
Yeah.
Or what will it open up? That's the other thing.
And
same as when they did the repair cheat, they actually left open the exploit for the building hack again, which is why you saw a lot of people coming in with new buildings and stuff when we all thought that had been stopped.
Yeah, they closed it after a short period, but it was the same thing with the repair cheats. Then they were doing it out of depots, and then they killed that. and then they tried to do something else, and then we ended up with this fucking workshop bullshit. That
Yep.
it's taken them long enough to close, and now they've closed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
What's
for all
next?
those that are out there that has not taken videos of their workshop, I'm just going to say this. If you're missing something, don't bitch and cry about it. Don't freaking send in tickets, because without a video, screenshot, whatnot, you're not going to get diddly squat.
Exactly. That's why it was said on the show last week. I think I posted something earlier this week on several pages.
mentioned it several times on the show last week. David mentioned it on the show several times last week. The Self Lady Warrior mentioned it on the show. Has put multiple posts up on the pages. I've put multiple posts on the pages. And if you haven't taken video or screenshotted your workshop and you go and complain about this, I am going to laugh at you.
I'm not even going to approve the post if they make any.
Oh, no.
No.
By all means, approve the post, and then I'll laugh at them.
Okay.
In fact,
Okay.
approve the post, tag me in it, and then I'll laugh at them.
Okay.
Okay, we can do that. We can do that.
I'll just turn off commenting. I'll approve it, then turn off commenting on it.
You do know I can override that.
I know, but still.
Yes, we know. But well, so you can override it. You can make your laugh, and then you can turn commenting back off.
As big a hole as this could be, I mean, let's face it here, folks, workshops is pretty huge, okay?
Yeah.
Anybody that did not take pictures or do a video is about as dumb as a stick in the road. I'm sorry, but that just don't cut it. You know, I mean, you had to go in by today and just do a video of your workshop, everything in it, and all your replication. How hard is that?
Yep.
Thank you guys, because then I'm done. I didn't screenshot. I didn't do nothing, because I think it's not our duty to save our own account from a company that provides us a game. So, no, I'm not screenshot nothing. I don't cheat, so why do I have to? You know?
It's called covering your own ass.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Proper designers and proper patch developers. You know, you have nothing to worry about. You know,
Most of these kids are fresh out of university for the most part, and they get dumped in a shitty job like this.
Exactly. You're dealing with junior coders here. I'm sorry, but I've been a coder all my life. Okay. But you're dealing with junior coders here. And there is always, I mean, how many bugs have we seen over the past umpteen years because something was not implemented right? You got to have proof. You got to have proof to show Kixeye they kissed the pooch.
Yeah.
I do.
There's a problem with that, though.
You also know that we need to prove something that they can see already when they type in your ID number. They can read everything out of your account. They can read everything out of your account. You know that. I know that. Phil knows that. You know,
after this workshop upgrade, and if they remove something that you had that was valid, how can you prove it? Because it's not there anymore.
Exactly. And that's the whole reason that I did mine. I mean, I don't cheat, never cheated, no desire to cheat, but I did want to protect myself just in case, because I've worked really, really hard for that workshop stuff, real hard for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a bit of an issue with that though, guys, because say, for example, you log back on the game when it comes back on after the maintenance,
and you've got nothing at all
wrong. You try and send it into Kixeye, and they can automatically respond, well, we've caught you cheating. There's nothing that you can do, even with a picture, to prove that was gained legitimately, unless you've actually recorded yourself opening and unlocking that particular item.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, guys, we get maintenance once a week, and for the last couple of weeks, we get around 20 maintenance a week. Do they expect that I screenshot my shit 20 times a week? No, I'm done with that. Maybe I played too long, you know, but I give up on that. You know, if they want to fuck me, they fuck me anyway. So
20 maintenances a day is more like it.
I gotta put it like this though. I cheated, but she wasn't as hot as my wife.
Oh, Jesus, get out. What the hell?
God damn it, man.
No.
What? Don't tell my right hand I did it with my left today.
Let's not derail the show this early in the show. Let's leave us at least another 20 minutes before we derail and go somewhere where we probably shouldn't.
I had to lighten the mood just a little. It seemed a little serious.
That was sweet.
It's good that we have opposite opinions about stuff. This will make a show. I think.
No, I 100% agree with Pascal. I mean, you expect a company who will quite happily take your money to get the shit right, to know how much res or thorium you got in your base, to know which units are good, which units are cheating, and which is which and what is what, and all the workshop stuff should be counted and accounted for by, well, server side at least. It's one of those things that will drive you up the fucking wall if you think about it too much.
Yeah.
It will drive you insane. And I mean, we've all been since this was even hinted at, and when Franco posted it on the Unshackled page last week, we all went nuts. And we wanted to know when it was coming, when it was coming, when it was coming, when it was coming, when it was coming. And then we heard nothing about it for a day or so. And then we knew it was coming in the following week. And we all went batshit crazy. They never announced they were fixing the repair hack until it got posted in the forums last year. And everyone went nuts. And then they opened up holes for other exploits and other hacks and other cheats and other things. And slowly but surely they've patched and patched and patched and patched and patched. But how long is it going to be before one of those patches decides to peel itself away? Like a bad plaster or a bad Band-Aid. A Band-Aid upon 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 a Band-Aid. It's like putting a stitch into a profusely bleeding wound. It's never going to completely go away.
They always
The thing is, Phil, the thing is, it stays a flash-based game. So what they're doing now is bringing water to the ocean. Yes, they fix some stuff. Probably we get 2 months of fair play games. But after that, they find another way to cheat. It's a flash game. So there always decoders to...
It's a teardrop in the ocean.
Yeah.
Right. Well, hopefully when they finally, according to what we've read earlier from Scobocop, the changing over to HTML5 or whatever else it was that they were talking about changing over to, will fix a lot of this issues we're going to have.
Possibly is closing down as well. Adobe are switching their actual service, so there will be no flash play.
I'll be honest. I think it's only going to create more issues than fix issues because the shit's already fucked to begin with.
Probably this is, they need to rewrite War Commander for a big part, because if they make a backup of this game right now and they put it on HTML5, they bring also the cheats over. You know, the invalid data, I call it.
It is invalid data. That's what a cheat is.
Yeah.
And a loophole, a bug, an exploit.
That's then when you get problems. Yeah.
There's so many names for it. Already discussed the baseline unit gift. Well, the baseline unit gift is a grand total of 20 units. 10 Liberators, 6 Spartan units, and 4 Acolytes. That's all infantry. All infantry. And the only thing I can see of being any use in there is Liberators. Because it's the only thing I've ever used. I haven't used Spartans, and I don't think the Acolytes are any good. They take...
I don't like the Spartans at all.
The range on the Acolyte is too short for me to actually like it.
But the speed, give it the comparison. The Acolytes actually can kill a Jugger if you operate them quickly enough. If you have the speed on them, you can outrun the Jugger missiles. So
interesting.
Yep.
I mean, they do put out some serious damage.
Exactly. If you want
It's-
to Omega
The
fleet.
range is not too good. I think that's why a lot of people don't use them. I'm the same.
I'm not so sure on the Spartans, to be honest, but I mean, they're giving everybody those unlocks.
Spartans really sucks. But mine are level 19, and to be honest, I did a test yesterday because they were on the world map, the basis for the Spartans. I tried everything, bunkers in, bunkers out, with air, without air. They really need to fix that because they're really only good to make a hole in walls or buildings, and against units they fall.
Interesting.
Probably for the lower level players, medium level players, they can be useful, but in these type of maybe an event they will rock, because this event we get Corpus, so you cannot use Corpus units.
Yep.
No, this is the only thing, and I think no, Spartans they need a twist. To be honest.
But all players are getting those units for free.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, it's a nice addition.
It's
Most of the units there are okay. They're not great. They're not high end. They're not tanks or anything like that. But they'll be usable for a little while at least. And all players are getting them.
Yeah, but they go too quick, Phil. We are now already started with the next generation.
Yeah.
Like the dogs. They go too quick. They really go too quick. Okay, they don't release more content. They don't release more units. But if they release a unit, it's already a next generation. It's confusing for people. And the next generation means if they have a level 10 status, they get a special effect. Like the dogs, they get concussion.
That's like the new laser tanks. I mean, I'm sorry. That's just a revamp of the old one with a new skin.
It's
I don't know. Don, I want to say something
unit.
about the Cyclops. It looks like a laser tank, but according to the damage, it's a sustained damage, and a laser tank was not sustained.
No, what I find the Cyclops to be is a cover-up for their absolute disaster of a rollout with the legendary laser tank. I think.
Thank you.
What they wanted the legendary laser tank to be, what they wanted the legendary mega tank to be, what they wanted the legendary Hellfire to be, failed. Blatantly, just miserably failed. So you're seeing them come out with a unit to mimic what the original intent of these legendary units was to be, which was to make up for the falling to the wayside of the original,
You've got purifiers.
Yeah.
Which is similar to a mega tank, not by much, but they're similar.
Yeah.
You have the new Cyclops.
To me, the ultra tanks are more similar to the mega.
True.
Yeah.
Except they suck.
Yeah, but I'm saying again, ultra tanks failed where they were supposed to pick up the slack and be the next gen mega tank. What we played our mega tanks, the way we operate our mega tanks, cracking bases open and obliterating with a swarm of mega tanks. That's what the ultra tank should have done. It should have given that mid-level player. I mean, us high levels, Pascal with his skill and tech and units would outmatch anybody who has ultra tanks. But what the ultra tanks should have done is they should have bridged that gap between Pascal and his Omega Hydra and a new player who starts the game and all they have is the original Mega Tank. So that bridge unit was the ultra tank. I mean, this is my perception. That bridge unit would have been the ultra tank. A person who has the original laser tank, because they only started 5 months ago, they got no gain against going against a level 35 player who has not Roland with the hammers, but say what the hell's the other one? The machine gun tank. No, the purifiers. Yes, purifiers. So the purifiers give off a hell of a lot of damage as a tank. They do the sweeping, kiting and firing and everything. You had to have a bridge unit in between so that you have your starting player then you have a bridge middle sec player, and then you have the people who've played like us on the board here for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. That's what I think in my opinion, that's what I think they were trying to pull off, and it fell apart very easily. Just
I want to have another idea about the Cyclops Venom. Maybe you're right, but you know how I'm thinking. I'm always thinking out of the box.
Yeah, that's what I love about you.
If we compare all the units that we got new, we're missing one unit, and I don't think it's a replacement for the new Hellfire laser tank. I think it's a new Enforcer, because it's sustained damage. So what does the Enforcer did? Everything in this maximum range he killed. I think it's a new kind of Enforcer.
I can agree by its damage specs. I mean, until we have a chance to play with it and see it for firsthand, but certainly by what it's promoted to give as a form of damage, it's much more like the Enforcer.
I've got another question there too. Is it capable of hit and run like the old laser tank used to be? You had a
no telling. We'll have to wait till we get him.
No idea. You'll have to wait till next week.
There you go.
Yeah.
The laser tank was bad.
Don't get us wrong, guys. Don't think it's we are just assuming.
It's all speculation at this point.
We don't know.
We haven't seen it. We haven't played with it. There's been no preview server again.
I can say what I'd hope. I hope it has a range comparable to what we saw with the old, in basic understanding of what our units are now, with units that have 550, 600 range. I'm hoping that it will have similar range in comparison to the old laser tanks and that kind of stuff, so that we have that ability to kind of pop in there, blast, and then back off. But we also need speed from it. And I don't know visually, just my assumption visually, it doesn't look like it's going to be a very fast unit. And they might end up having...
Well, if it's anything like the Phalanx now, it's going to be a pretty good unit.
Yeah.
We all know Phalanx are a very good unit to have.
Yeah, they are.
So
and real quick talking about not using the Spartans. Again, I agree. They're an underdevelopable unit, and the only Spartans I ever use are coming out of my Phalanx. I mean, that's their best usage for me. I don't send out platoons of Spartans or acolytes.
No.
So, to that topic, guys.
Uh-huh.
If you want to know the power of the of the Phalanx and the Hades, please do the Corpus 100 bases, because they're all level 20. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking, but
they were thinking Kixeye logic.
No, they've been smoking on some of Pascal's supply is what they've been doing, because they've had to be on some serious shit to do that.
Well,
yeah, I'm always on some serious shit.
I can tell you one thing: the Omega Maxed Herald die within seconds in a base. So then you know the power of the Hades if they are level 20.
So if somebody does do a 100 base, please video it and post it on the page, because I'd like to watch you die.
Max Payne did one. If it's the Corpus 100, Max Payne did one from WC Tech. It was actually pretty good.
I'm not on that page.
I got my 10 because I did them all.
I mean, it's on the Unshackled page now. I shared it about 2 hours.
Props to Max Payne, WC Tech. If you want something to find out, go there too, guys.
It's funny. There's plenty of places around to find videos. City does it. Cyram does it. Kagral does it. Gabby does it. There are more than enough people that put out more than enough videos on all of the bases that come around, even if they hate the base.
Yeah, but that's the bloody thing with these kind of bases. You can video what you want, but the people, there are only extreme people with units and tactics like us. No,
absolutely, Pascal.
Level players, no chance they can beat that base in the 45 minutes they gave them. No chance. Besides that, what I like to see is if they bring out bases with max unit, balance it out. The same amount of units we can use in our base, use the same amount of turrets that we can use in our base, then it's fair. But if you put 20 heavy platforms in a base, fuck that, man. Nobody have a chance. Nobody have a chance without damage or tactics or whatever. You know, this is my big
becomes a brute force thing.
Yeah.
If you have to brute force a base, that's not tactical.
That's not gameplay. That's
kickside bullshit.
No fun. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no skill in that.
Remember, throw some more coin at it. Throw some more coin at it. Throw some more coin at it. Throw some more coin at it.
Yeah,
This is what Kickside asks of
Kickside
you.
response to everything.
This is my idea.
See, I don't.
You know, if you want to teach people tactics, give them a fair amount of platforms, give them a fair amount of base defenders that you have to kill. Then people can learn tactics, not like this. You know, they can throw 6 platoons in there, but nobody's going to attack with 6 platoons. Just bring the fair amount. 4 heavy platforms. If you want to use 6, then give the player 6.
Well, fuck, I want to be able to use 6 platoons at one time on these kickside bases because we aren't afforded the courtesy of having half the shit they got in their base. What the fuck are they thinking?
Oh, they can deploy 6 platoons in your base at one shot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to be able to do that on a kickside base, not on a player base, just on a rogue base. So maybe I got a fighting chance at the shit.
Yeah, but that's where they go wrong, guys. That's where they go wrong. If you take a medium level player, level 40, he bought some packages, yeah? And we watch an invasion. And there's 20 Felixes coming in. There is 300 Felix or Spartans following that. You know, this is a low level player, medium level player, never gonna learn the game because they cannot defend against that. They cannot focus on a group of units. No, they're surrounded by 500 units.
Let me revisit something. Let me revisit something really quick because you're spot on a point that I love, which is I've said this before. We players on this panel, players out in YouTube that love PvP, and we've been fighting for so long to keep spurring on PvP, to have the rave shows actually start popping back up, you know, as a regular basis. I know Daba and David are trying. But here's my point, and this is what I've said in past episodes.
Lonnie.
Yeah, Lonnie too. You too, David. You want to do the PvPs. I know you do. But anyway. So, okay, let me get this out real quick. PvE, player versus the game, it's supposed to teach you an ability to kite units, to beat the AI, which is supposed to be dumbed down. It's not supposed to be so over the top. You're not supposed to be hit by so many outnumbering units at such a high advanced level, but it's supposed to give you a basic ability to go in and play these stupid events to collect prizes and res and whatever you need to progress yourself as a player and learn tactical abilities, kiting units, kiting defensive turrets, etc. Once you've branched away from the original signing up to this program and playing the game through its like 1 hour long little trial, you know, video thing of showing you what to do, there is no other way, personally, that I believe, besides PvE and events, to take a unit that you've just recently earned and explore how to use it, how quick it can move out of the way of certain tactics, how much speed it has, how much ability it has to take damage. That's where PvE comes into this game. The game itself is a PvP game. It is fighting other human beings around the world, making friendships and enemies and allies, and having fun battling with the stuff that we toil over to collect. Mm-hmm. When Kickside dumps 10 platoons of shit on you, 7 freaking Titans, 4 freaking Phantoms, all this shit that we cannot and will never, ever be able to deploy ourselves. There is absolutely no tactical, intellectual, game skill schooling that comes from this. All it is it tells you you're defeated, go lay down, hang up the game, this is bullshit. They're killing by destroying the ability to actually promote players to want to go out and have fun. They're killing the fun when you have a PvE, which is supposed to be easy, and you get smashed to shit. I mean, I don't mind losing. I don't mind getting smashed, but progress. A platoon hits me, takes out a corner. Then another platoon hits me, takes out a corner. That's fine. If my base can't hold up, I have to figure out ways to adapt, and that'll teach me a way to be better PvP defender or PvP attacker. But when they do what they do in a lot of these defensive waves and a lot of these event bases, and now even just rogue bases we go out to collect day-to-day resources, when they do this shit of just OPing the base, it takes the fun out of it, and it really does like a thorn in the side of especially new players and even players like myself. I lose a lot of the drive and fun. So I agree.
Yeah, that's exactly the point what I was saying. You know, if our max units, Omega units, cannot beat a new 100 base, what do you think the medium and low level is going to do with that? You know, it's totally out of balance. You know, our units, newest units, by Omega Herald, level 40.
Yo, I know what I'm going to do. Instead of throwing all this coin at the game, I'm going to go get a rub and tug.
Roll over and take a nap.
Well, Wolfie actually said something really, really good in the side chat, and he says he misses the days when he could use an ERM to bait the mortars. And he's right, because really, when what can we do now? I mean, yeah, we can go drop on a base and we can learn that way, but what rogues, what bases do we have where we can go practice with our new toys, where Kix isn't overpowered to the point where as soon as we drop it, it's dead? We don't have that. We don't have that ability to practice on any bases. I mean, you know, res bases are easy for almost everyone, but lower levels.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It goes both ways. You have bases where you cannot use tactic because you drop something in and it's instantly half dead, and you're just kind of fighting an uphill battle, and you're losing units just to get in that little niche angle to take out the rest of the base.
Exactly.
Or on the other side of that coin, you get a base that's so blatantly easy that there's no skill involved because you fucking drop an O-Titan and you Ruby it, or you drop in Phalanx.
Exactly. We, unless we're fighting each other, and to me, that's not a good way to kind of learn to use a new unit. I don't want to go drop it in somebody's base and say, oh shit, that doesn't work. I'd rather do it in another base and, kind of get a feel for it before I take it to somebody's base and say, okay, if I drop it here, it's going to do this. If I drop it there, it's going to do that. And we don't have that. We don't have that luxury. I remember being as a young player, it was, the rogue bases were actually good practice. Now they're okay, go get some resources, drop my plane in, go, get something to drink, come back, it's done. Simple.
They're not.
There's one solution.
All bases to do that. Yeah, to train
There's one solution for those bases, guys. Listen, the thing is, if we want to use tactics like what Wolfie said, with the rifleman and the mortarman, you still can use that tactic with your liberators. But the thing that's killing that to teach you the tactics is the time on the bases. 45 minutes is not enough. You need to end those timed bases. Then people can nibble off a base and learn exactly.
Pascal, if I want to test you out, I'm going to go hit a friend's base, a teammate's base. Why? Why not? It's a war game.
I saw a guy he said he used like 20 PKs and you name it, he threw it in the Corpus 100. He had nothing but floating Furies and Apollos in the air. And there was buildings, and there was just air units on the ground, like Hades, and I think there was a Phalanx in there. And I says, "You got the hard part out. Like, what? I don't understand why you can't beat this base." And this person's a level 45, I want to say, and got an older ID than myself. But I'm like, well, the Furies I took out with my bone saws. The ground I took out with an Ardra. I used Ardra to bait for the Apollos. They hammered on my Ardra while the Apollos were coming out, and just because he was trying to just bulldoze the base, and I was like, you can't do that with the 100 or any base on the map. But also something else I'd like to point out, going back to like with our units. Can you guys hear any beeping in the background for me?
No.
Okay, there's a car alarm going off in the background, so I just want to make sure it's not, you guys can hear it. Okay, so second thing I want to make is we got a brand new unit. Let's say we got the War Dogs last event. Let's say we actually give a crap about them. At level 1, no unit is really good, and it takes a while to get it even to level 5 or 10. And it's not really that bad for like actual units and not shadow op stuff, but still at level 1, generally units don't have the range or the damage or the health, and so let's assume the War Rig was something good. At level 1, we're like, it's trash. The Herald, we said at level 1 it was trash. The Juggernaut at level 1, it's not. Then it took us a month or so of upgrading before we got these units to elite, and then we're like, you know what? They're actually not that bad. That's a month that we could have been playing around with the unit in a specialty base that's specific. Like now, Champ said the Iron Strike 60 is a like a medium base for testing new units out and stuff, because it's not too powerful, but it's not super easy as well. But I mean, like, we don't really have a base that we can this new Cyclops thingy, whatever it is, we'll get them in the event, and then they'll probably not have max range. They'll probably not have good health, and then initially we're going to be like, oh, they're crap, and then possibly we could find a use. That's one thing they should do, like to do with the Fury. Max range at the beginning, and then health and damage and DPS and all that crap as you level up, because this game range is everything. If you outrange your opponent, means everything. That's why the Jug's so powerful. That's why the old Hellfires and BFGX was so powerful. What's his name? Tech Ninja Dez was a monster with his BFGX. The Archangel, the Spectre, these are all units just solely powerful because of their range. And health and damage are nice if you want to just like bulldoze a base, but let's face it, 40 million or whatever, I think it's 30 to 40 million Omega Herald health just drops like nothing against Hades. So the days of bulldozing a base, long gone.
Yep. It's going to take skill, timing, and patience.
That's why I posted on the Unshackled page, like, if I make a video, it ain't going to be a 5-minute video like everyone else, because A, I like to commentate, and B, I'm a very slow, methodical attacker. And
as long as I don't have to sit and watch you hit a base for 45 fucking minutes, I'm happy.
Probably be about 20 at the max.
20's a reasonable target.
Now, like, for instance, the Iron Strike 60, if I did a detailed video on that, it'd be at least 10-15 minutes. Iron Strike 60, like using normal units. But like Max Payne, one of the things he was doing in the video was he uses Liberator to bait for the. So he put the Liberator in the front, let the everything shoot at the one Liberator. It got it down to about half health. He got his Jug shot off. He ended attack. He went back, healed up that Liberator, did the same thing, pretty much all around that. I watched like a minute of it, but yeah, it's kind of what he did around the front of that Corpus 100 base. And I was like, wow, I knew about like microhealing and libs, but I usually use them as a pack to kind of protect my Juggernaut. But now I'm gonna rethink using my libs as a meat shield and going back and like microhealing, because I used to have 180 fairies that I used to microheal 6, 7, 8, 10 times a day easily. That's like 1,800 fairies I used to microheal, so that's no bother to me. I'll see if he's around.
Yeah, if someone wants to drop, if someone is going to drop.
He's not showing up.
Yeah,
I can go, guys, because it's the middle of the night here for me, so I will drop out. Come in, Data.
Venom just dropped out. So Data can come on in.
Fucking hell, we lost faith as well, so Venom can come back in.
Come back.
Venom, come back.
Venom, come back, Venom. There's room. Come back, Venom.
No, there's plenty of room. Come back. Welcome back, Data.
Baby, come back.
Oh.
I can drop out as well if needed, guys.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
I saw Data in the hangout in the side chat, guys, on YouTube, and Data came back to the game, so he experienced it exactly.
Somebody needs to change his meds.
A medium-level player finding his way back to where we all at. So
he's the old school coming back into the new school, and you have my unfortunate sympathy.
That's the absolute truth. You guys were talking about, like tactics and stuff like that. The tactics are still in the game, but the fact of the matter is you're all spoiled. That's what it is. You're all spoiled with the latest and greatest unit that's overpowered because, honestly, everything that has been coming back into this game and introduced into this game is extremely OP and has not been balanced. That's the fact of the matter is. Hey, Joe Blow at the end of the table. We're gonna put this this thing in. It's like a Goodyear blimp. It's got 6 million health at level 1. You can just drop it in, scratch your balls, pick your nose, go to the bathroom, come back, and hey, guess what? That level 45 that you were in, he's pancaked. You got all his infamy. You stole all his resources because your team was running a boost. And you're going to come back, and it's going to cost you 17 gold to coin that bad boy back to full health.
Oh, and guess what?
You know what I mean? I had a guy come into my base, a level 30 with a level 1. What's that called now? The Herald, right?
The Herald.
Dildo.
Come into my base with a level 1. I've got all floating platforms, pure AA base except for the heavy turrets. Pure AA base except for the heavy turrets. Didn't even kill it.
Nope.
That's an absolute joke.
Dude, I dropped the level 3 dildo on your base when you first got back into the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That is an absolute joke. And honestly, it's a cool unit. It's really cool and great. I understand that. That's really awesome. I love all you guys for having it. I'm working really hard to get it. But whoever over in San Francisco created and balanced that unit should be absolutely the coffee boy for the rest of his existence. He should do nothing but fetch coffee.
Well, I want to interrupt you, Data. I don't like it because I'm happy you're back. But when I see, we go back to the 100 base again, what I see with the 100 bases, if people upgrade their Hades and stuff, the thing has nothing to tell anymore because I did everything to minimize my damage with the Herald in the 100 base, but it's undoable. Those level 20 Hades annihilate the max Omega Herald. That's what I want to add. So they are trying to get it back, the balance between that. So, sorry.
Yeah, I'm reading the side chat. I'm reading the side chat. The guy goes, "Well, that's not how it works because he had no defenders and he did it." You're lacking the understanding that you should not be able to deploy one single level 1 only unit in a base that is pure AA and flatten it at a 12 level difference in player. You should not be privy to that level of power. He was a 30. I'm a 42. Granted, I took 2 years off of the game, but there hasn't been. The only turret that's been introduced is the Avalanche, and to have the Avalanche as an AA turret over the max AA plasma turrets, it should not be that much of a disparity that a level 30 can destroy an undefended level 42 base. That's where you're missing the grand scheme of things.
Well,
you know,
it's
bad balance. You know, that's what that is. I mean, come on. If you really don't think that's bad balance, I don't know. You guys are a little delusional. I'm sorry, but
David, for the record, that is the real wrong thinker.
Wow.
I hit Lonnie's base.
There's the real wrong thinker one on the show. That's what I want to know.
Wrong thinker, you want to be if you want, you can be on.
We will send you the link.
I will boot David off the show to bring you on.
I'll leave.
Kyle,
if he wants to be on, I've got the link there. I'll send it to him right this second.
There's an open spot. Wait.
Yeah, there is.
If he wants in.
We'll be
I'll
nice.
Come on,
actually
Kyle.
play Nice.
Come on, Mr.
Let's not use
I'll go
let's
get a
not use real
rub and
names.
tug, okay?
WRONGTHINKER.
Yeah,
I
no real
just-
names. Wrong thinker. That's it.
No, I'm wrong. Well, it's in this chat. It shows Kyle. That's why I said that
Mm-hmm.
in the
I'll
YouTube
log
chat.
off, go get a rub and tug, and he can enjoy the show.
I was hitting line.
Dr. Phil.
Enough with the rub and tugs. I don't do rub and tugs. Okay, that's extra.
I was hitting Lonnie's base with he has just 4 max hunters and nothing else that was hitting my herald. By the time I got it down, I killed the 4 hunters in the CC and my herald was half health and I got a level 30.
Dr.
Level
Phil.
30 herald.
Yes.
Really?
If
I-
WRONGTHINKER comes,
I went in, now my herald's only 27 and I went in with one of mine
can I say something?
with mine and killed, I don't know, like 3 Hades, 2 Seekers, and all 4 things. And I wasn't at half health.
I call
Wonder what you
hex.
did differently than I did.
Can
Call
I say
hex.
something important, please?
Go ahead, Pascal. Go ahead.
If WRONGTHINKER comes in the hangout, if somebody burn him, can you boot that person? It doesn't matter who. Just give
Agreed.
him speech.
If he wants to come in, there will be a lot of rules
Yes.
set in place. He does. He
Hold on.
gave it a shot.
He said
Give it a shot.
He gave
He
it a
said
shot.
he said it's filled up.
No, it's
We don't
not.
have
No.
that many in
I
here, do
will,
we?
I will jump out now, Cal.
Yeah, we are full.
I will jump out now.
Jump out now. I'll post a link for him.
Okay. Nobody else joined. Period.
Send it to him. Can you send it to him privately?
I wish I could. I don't have him on any of my lists.
Give me a second. I think I have
Refresh
him.
and please try again, Mr. Wrong Thinker.
Yes, Mr. Thinker.
Come on, WT, jump in.
The man himself. Good evening,
up,
Mr.
guys?
Wrong Thinker.
Good
Hello,
evening.
Wrong Thinker. Welcome.
Good
Shadow's
day.
wish has been granted. WRONGTHINKER is now on the show.
It worked. I was just sitting there clicking the button, join.
Well, welcome
Kyle,
to War
let's-
Commander Unshackled.
Yes. Is this the first time I've been on Unshackled?
This is the first
Yes,
time
sir.
you've been on Unshackled.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
crap, I wasn't supposed to do this.
This is the second time I've ever been on Unshackled. So
Hey,
it's
we
nice
won't-
to meet you.
We won't tell anybody.
No, we won't.
There you go.
I'll
Yeah,
even unlist the show.
Probably about a half hour, guys, but I'm happy to hang out for 30 minutes or so.
Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. So this is sort of
Very
a little,
impromptu.
very impromptu, and I didn't expect any of this, so I don't have a list of questions for you.
Sorry for the lack of warning. Like, I just oh, you guys are streaming, and I do sometimes watch the streams, of course.
Surprise!
Yes. And sometimes I I'll watch them after they've streamed if I missed a live broadcast. But I saw you guys were streaming. Now's as good a time as any to swing by and see if you guys had room on the panel.
Well, I'll ask this question.
I'm ready.
Hopefully, this workshop fix works permanently. We're hoping for, correct? Okay, that's all I need.
Question mark. Hopefully this will work. Or
Yeah, hopefully,
No.
hopefully the BS with the workshop is taken care of after today.
yeah, like this fix. Just to be clear, we try not to broadcast, as I think all of you are aware. We try not to broadcast where our anti-cheating efforts are focused.
Yes.
Right, significantly in advance.
Totally understandable.
So this has been in the works for a long time. The workshop was just I would say a little bit of a clusterfuck in terms of security. So this was a bad one. You guys know that it's been around for a long time, and it was several months ago that we're like we need to fucking tackle this. And we thought we had it at several points, and then it was nope, not quite. So, nothing's 100% sure thing. We know fighting the hackers and the cheaters is a moving target. We know this, but it's been a long time in the making. So, I'm as confident as we can be with this shit, but it's not nothing. So let's see what happens, and hopefully we'll have a game that you guys can play and feel like you're not going to get screwed over by people who are abusing the system and cheating the system, because that's not what we want.
Well, I will say that I wish you all the best over there on the Kixeye end, and we as players hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, we're all in the same boat there, and I know that like sometimes I see players speculating like, oh, we're just doing stuff for the cheaters, as though somehow we make money off of people not paying us money, and I'm not sure where the logic is there. But I like this has been a lose-lose situation for honest players and for us at Kixeye for a really long period of time. So I'm just glad that we finally bit the bullet and we're like, let's solve this problem, because this is a big one.
Well, I hope it works well, and when the game comes up in the next half hour, and hopefully everyone doesn't lose their shit.
Yeah.
Well, I just jumped back on because I wanted to reiterate what I told you in the YouTube chat, which is, I want to say, at least from my personal opinion, I'm not an ass kisser, but we all hope that the War Commander team has a good rollout with this. We know that you've had to delay it to fix some, bugs and things that you've noticed, so that you don't end up releasing something that's not going to work properly the way you intend it to work or the way you want it to work. So we're all hopeful that when this comes back up, this situation is resolved for as long as it can be, and that you're kept on top of any future stuff. But do not, under any circumstance, expect yourself or any of the other War Commander developers and team members not to get a ton of shit from everybody and everywhere if even the slightest thing even remotely looks like it might be off.
Yeah,
So don't take
totally.
any.
We're swear to goodness, we're as braced as we can be on that.
I just want to say,
let's be real for a minute. This being Unshackled, there's like a 90% chance that no matter what we do, people gonna be pissed, right? Like
98.9.
Yeah.
Like,
how about 99.3?
Everyone who is watching the show right now is going to
full number.
See, I disagree. Okay, anything to the good has got to be good for the game.
Oh, absolutely, DGR. But the thing is, you can please some of the people some of the time, but you never please all of the people all the time. And no matter what you do for one, it's going to adversely affect another. And that's just the way life is. That's everything in every aspect.
I agree. So, but if you're cheating, get the F out.
Yep.
Oh, that's of course. Yeah.
Okay. I'm
that's
sorry, but
there was a question in side chat just a second ago. WRONGTHINKER, I don't know if you can actually answer this, but somebody's asking, does the trophy really have that big of an effect on the lag issue? And is that why you're making us store them?
So I have talked a little bit with the, and just really quick, a precursor to that, I want people to feel comfortable asking any questions. I wouldn't have come on Unshackled if I didn't want to if I wanted to just sit here quietly, right? So feel free to ask, like, if you want to be a jackass or even like a Dr. Phil, like, go ahead.
Oh
no, there's only one. There's only one Dr. Phil. Nobody can be that big.
Feel free to ask anything, seriously. So having said that, the answer to that specific question is, yeah, trophies actually are an issue, and it kind of sucks that they are. If you've got like 1 or 2 trophies in your base, yeah, not an issue. There's issues with the way, and this is where Sobocop, our tech director, can speak to this better than I can, for sure. But like, it's stupid that trophies are an issue, but when you get that checkbox option to like turn off trophy animations in battle, that should cause an improvement for some players. We've done a lot of evaluations, and part of the issue that the game has faced from a performance perspective is, to be entirely honest, we've had like a slippery slope of bad performance, which I think everyone there has experienced. But it wasn't like we just did one thing and the game was a slideshow. It's like it's been all of these things over an extended period of time have contributed. So we're looking for the biggest factors that we can, and we're trying to focus our efforts there. But part of the reason that we didn't just like make one change and suddenly the game is better is because it's like we have a list that is, I don't know, it's dozens and dozens of things long that need to be fixed, refactored, and optimized to get performance into a better state. And of course, again, Sobocop talked about that a little in the tech Q&A and in his technical posts, which again are perhaps not for everybody because of just how technical he gets and how technical he's willing to get. But we are trying to chip away at these things, and trophies are indeed one of those things.
To touch on that, my question is it the rendering or is it the actual animations themselves?
I believe it has something to do, and again, forgive my lack of fully technical knowledge there, but something in Flash causes it to render more than it should. Like, it doesn't just render the specific trophy outline, but like frequency of trophy animation, like number of frames, all these things have some kind of effect on performance. And I can't give you better than that, just because I literally have no fucking clue.
Okay.
That is not my field of expertise.
Okay.
It was tried to explain to me once, and it definitely was like, enough of it got into my head to acknowledge that trophies are one of the bigger issues, but there are many bigger issues.
Yeah, I think I might have brought that up last week with somebody. It might have been even off air. I don't even remember. But yeah, the option to store the trophies. I mean, it's great. Your EP is huge. You have a whole bunch of trophies. But to be able to put them on display in the base is only inhibiting players and their ability to play the game. You know what I mean? It's like, I think that's a step in the right direction.
For sure.
Because, I mean, I'm playing on a top-of-the-line machine, and I'm having a problem with frame rate and everything. I mean, I'm playing on a 1080 Ti with 64 gigs of RAM, and it's like, hello, it's
it's ridiculous. I will call out one thing, which is like one of the major issues that we're running into. I mean, I think you guys are all aware that we actually have pretty serious memory issues with the game, and what's getting us is the limitation is not actually the amount of RAM a person has. The limitation is the way that browsers specifically have different built-in restrictions on the amount of RAM an in-browser application can use. And I think this is especially true in Chrome. So because of the memory issues, we're seeing like pushback from the browser and throttling from the browser that's interfering with performance. Now, that said, there's no freaking reason that our game should be taking up that much space in RAM. We know this. That's one of the areas that we're trying to hammer on. But that's why someone who has like 6 gigs of RAM versus 12 gigs isn't actually seeing a meaningful improvement with the 12 gigs. It's because of the way Flash and browsers interact inherently, and the browsers sort of do that.
Yes, especially with Chrome, with all the background processors that are constantly running and eating up your disk and your RAM and everything like that. It is, and I'm thinking honestly about switching over when I'm playing War Commander to a totally different browser, because it is. I mean, I'll monitor my system, and I'm looking at it, and I'm going, why is this game taking so much? I mean, I'll play the latest, greatest games that are available on Steam and Valve, and I'm having no issues. I'm getting 150 FPS.
No,
but I'm playing this game, and it's like, why is this doing this?
Right now. I've got the Hangout open, and I have Facebook open, and I have the YouTube open. That's 3 different tabs. And Google Chrome right now is running 24 different processes. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
No, not a bit.
Well, you're light. I'm running about 80 on my computer.
What the hell are you doing?
There's steps you can go into those processes and disable certain ones and enable certain ones. I mean, that aren't going to affect the browser's performance, but most of them are going to affect its performance, and certain things will stop working once you start messing with them. And that was the issue. I think that happened back, 5 or 6 updates ago. All of a sudden, out of the blue, things just started not working properly and eating up a lot of that space. But I don't know. I'll have to test out a couple different browsers and see.
I'll put it like this.
Okay, so
just to follow up on that, I'm definitely not making any excuses. The game takes up too much memory. But the point is that the browsers are playing a role in inhibiting the value of having a good rig, because having a good gaming rig, like I get a good gaming rig at home and I run shit better than I do War Commander, and it's like, why? It's stupid. And I acknowledge it's stupid.
Dude, my World of Warcraft is insane compared to War Commander.
So it's Cookie here. Can I just ask one question? And lovely to meet you, Sam. I've only seen your posts. I've never actually visualized you in real life.
Suck up.
Shut up. If the trophies and this and that in your bases are adding to the lag, why do Kixie keep on, or Kixie, whatever you want to call yourselves, why do you guys keep on giving these challenges to unlock these trophies, etc., knowing full well that it's going to cause lag? From what you've said, yeah, there's obviously different variations of browsers. There's challenges, etc. But why are you guys enhancing or causing the problems by getting these extra trophies?
That's a great question.
Shut up, bro.
No, that's totally that's a great question. Like, so the truth is that trophies have proven to be a massively powerful motivator for players. You can translate that however you like. So there's a juggling act there between maintaining sort of healthy motivators in the game, which ultimately keep us in business, against performance. And this is where the correct solution is that one doesn't have to compromise the other. And we do things like provide players options to disable trophy animation so that it's not an issue, so that you can still have your trophies that you can show off and feel good about, and show your achievements in the game, but that doesn't screw over the game. Right? Like that's the correct answer. So in the law, there's multiple parts to that answer. The other part, and forgive me for rambling a little bit, but I think it is a good question, is that I'm not saying that 2 years ago we were making right decisions about that, or that we were aware of precisely where the problem areas in the game are. So as we've done recently, you know, when we put up our post with our tech plan, which again Sobocop put up, that was it was our first really major effort to like figure out where, like, before there had been small cursory investigations, like, is this thing causing problems, this thing? And this is like, no, we have to understand the bigger picture so that we can solve this problem. And, you know, you could easily make a case and say, and I'd be right there with you saying, like, maybe we should have just done this like 3 years ago. And I can't argue with that. That's an airtight argument. But we are doing it now. We're looking at the bigger picture, and we're identifying things like, well, shit, trophies are an issue. So what do we do about this? Do we stop offering trophies, period? And I think we know that a lot of players like trophies. So it's like, are we screwing players over by offering this? Well, how about we fix the damn problem and make trophies not a problem? So that is the approach that we are taking at this time.
I want to jump in.
Thank you.
I want to jump in here real quick. Now, knowing that there's a lot of issues to all of this, it's not strictly the trophies, it's not strictly the browser that you use, there's just a lot of compiled issues. Does some of the transfer of data between servers and our computers around the world have any effect on something that I want Daba to bring up, because Daba has an excellent question, and it's an issue that a lot of players have seen constantly, myself included. So,
and it's if you've actually read today's update notes, it's actually being fixed.
Yeah, it's been fixed completely, or is it just in the process with this?
No, according to the notes, it's been fixed.
Well, I'd like to hear it from the horse's mouth, please.
Yeah,
literally.
Sorry, guys.
So the question is, so me and a lot of us on the panel, we love to PvP, we love smashing tunes, smashing bases. A big problem we've been having lately, past 2 or 3 raid runs, we got to hit a platoon or advanced scout a base or even attack a base with our heavy tune, and we get what's the workshop bomb. So I'm sure you're familiar with that, where you click a base or something. It's happening even when you advance scout or even like try to attack a platoon. And you just get
like the unlock.
Yes.
But the worst part is your screen freezes for a good 30 to 40 seconds, if not a minute. Then you got the workshop. I can click. I'm a really fast clicker. I have a trackpad and a mouse, so I can get through the workshops. That's not a problem, but it freezes. And even trying to get into the base, trying to defend my base, like myself and a bunch of people I know have totally given up on even putting defenders in the base because we can't get in to actually defend them, and they're basically sitting ducks. And so a lot of people on the YouTube chat were actually wondering if this is being addressed and whatnot, and it sounds like it has been, hopefully, by the update.
We thought we had fixed this once, I think a couple of weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and maybe even claimed that it was fixed. I can't recall. And then, like, nope, it turns out there's still another separate cause for it. I'm not super familiar with the technical causes of this issue, which is, in some ways, if I were to narrow down like a single most annoying issue, even though not everyone experiences it, like this might be it. Like if you just say this one bug is infuriating, I could see the case for this one being it. So again, this is an area where I don't have a specific technical answer, but I know that this is, for the players that are experiencing it, a staggering pain in the ass. So this is another sort of knock on wood. I think we got it. But this one surprised us once before, so.
Yeah,
We can test it.
So
that's why I posed the question, because I wasn't sure if it was outside of the realm of what you guys can do on your end, if so many other factors equate to causing this issue, that it's a matter of just slowly grinding through and fixing little by little till we get it, or till you guys get it under control.
Yeah, and honest, and to be frank, that remains to be seen. This is another one where, like, I have optimism, but
well, I mean, you nailed it on the head.
I feel like an asshole saying we have to wait and see if it pops up again, but we think we've got it. We think we've solved the problem, but
because like you stated, it is the most infuriating thing, because it affects everything. It affects playing events where you get froze out, timed events which you've done in the past, and also defending your base when you can't defend it because you have this lag, forced lag and forced freeze of your game. So thank you for that.
So here's a question. I know that 1,000 people are going to be pissed off at me if I don't ask. Is the Mine Factory completely fucked?
No. We've said this. The Mine Factory is completely unfucked.
Well, I mean, the Mine Factory is it's a funny thing. The original design for the Mine Factory, when it went out, was, of course, what we call percentile damage, right? So your unit runs down, you take 5% of your health as damage, or something along those lines, variable depending on the mine level you have. But generally speaking, percentile damage is from a design/business perspective, it's actually kind of a dangerous mechanic to utilize, because it has an incredibly long, if not infinite, shelf life, right? Because like 1% against whatever the most powerful unit of the moment is going to be, similarly effective today as it was 5 years ago, as it will be 5 years from now. So part of the reason the Mine Factory hasn't been poked at much is because of that, because it's still kind of like mines that hit things still hurt a lot. You don't want that. The other reason is mines are kind of an interesting mechanic in that, like, again, so I'm the lead designer on the project. This doesn't mean necessarily, like, when we get into things where I can speak from design perspective, boy, I can sink my teeth into that. Like, mines are in some ways kind of bad in terms of their current design implementation. So what I mean by that is I like to measure things between fun and unfun. So, right, everything you add into the game has the potential to add fun and also unfun, or frustration, or bad feelings. So mines are a great example of something that does add some fun, where you get to put them in your base layout, and you get to feel good about, like, covering a particular angle and not having to worry about it. But they also generate a lot of unfun when you're an attacker, and if you don't have your advanced scout charges, or you just don't even want to bother with that shit, you just go into a base and you run over a minefield, like, you're like, well, what the hell could I have done about that? It's just crap. Like, what is this shit? So that is the level of unfun that they cause. So in a way, we end up doing things to release counters for mines, and that's our addition to mines. We released Advanced Scout, and recently the War Dog is like, have him sniff around for mines. You don't give a shit about mines. So, like, we sort of address it from that angle, because we want to put the onus on, in some ways, on offense a little bit more than defense, because you interact more with offense than you do with defense, with some exceptions, of course. I mean, obviously, invasion and defense waves, but more so than not, you interact with things more through offense.
Okay, so a question from the guy in the side chat regarding depots. How about the depots on the map being useless since we can't deploy inside of them? Obviously, we know why. We get enough resources from them. Will they be removed from the game or have a better payout?
So the 3-month answer to that, there's two answers. There's the 3-month, or like the quarterly answer. The quarterly answer is, over the next quarter, nothing will change with depots. And that's just because we are having to selectively choose where we put our efforts and our resources. Our hope is that we're going to be able to pull resources off of some of the larger efforts, most of which you guys already know about, which we talk about on the forum, things like the stability and performance initiative that we're doing. So come our 4th quarter, we kind of want to investigate this. We actually think that having interesting objectives and gameplay on the world map itself, something we haven't utilized very well, and is something we can improve upon. And depots are a great example of something where if we shore them up there might be some really fun strategic gameplay to be had there, maybe even involving alliances. So that's sort of all I'll say on that topic.
All right. I like
I have deja vu.
Yeah, it brings me back to that.
I'm having deja vu. Because that was something we talked about. That's something we talked about on the other show years ago when I was part of it. Was actually having
capture the flag style event.
Well, no, it was similar to other games, how they have clan functions, and I think we used a wargaming product in particular. Was that having like stronghold type things out on the map where it generates for your clan X amount of resources, kind of like similar to what we have the boosts that happen right now, but actually have physical, tangible on-map items where you can defend and attack and target other alliances and other clans and things like that. That will get your group bonuses or resource credits, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think that kind of like what you've touched on there is something that we don't quite do enough of, I think, systemically in the game. This idea of really finding reasons to reward you guys working together and playing as a team. Like a lot of our objectives, even when you look at something like regular old PvP, a lot of that is really geared towards individual against individual. And it's actually a lot more fun to play with a team, either against another team or against us, against Kicks, the game. But teamwork can actually be really fun and rewarding. And we kind of like flirted with that idea a little bit with the initial implementation of our raid stuff, but I certainly don't think we nailed that. There's plenty of room for improvement there and on the world map as well.
Okay, Wrong Thinker question. Somebody's asking, they're not one to do base expansion, so now their base is really full with all of the buildings, like the oil pumps and the metal factories. Is there any thought in the works perhaps of being allowed to store the buildings, or maybe doing away with some of the more useless ones like the oil pumps?
Or compressing the footprint?
Sorry?
Yeah, because I brought that up before, maybe reducing the number of oil foundries, or excuse me, metal foundries, oil pumps, oil storage. I mean, we've reduced the footprint of the power plants in the past. If not reducing the footprint, maybe just break the number down instead of having 6 or whatever, just make 4. You know what I mean?
Right. No, that's a good question. What I will comment on there is there's a couple of ways that we can improve the base space. Things like, we give you more room. We could shrink the footprints of buildings, as you've said, or we could allow some kind of consolidation. And I think all of those actually are fair game. The part of what I would like to see addressed, and again, there's no immediate timetable for this at this time, but like bases are very, very, very busy to look at. There's a hell of a lot going on, a hell of a lot of buildings. And while there's some fun to be had for like, you hiding, certain turrets or your units behind like your CC, and that's cool and all, there's also, that's another one of those things where like, in a way, that kind of behavior detracts from PvP. Because what happens is you go into a PvP, like to attack someone, and there's just so much stuff there. And you have to spend so much time trying to just parse what you're looking at. Because there's so many oil, like you were saying, like so much information that isn't useful in a way for when you're doing PvP, that like uncluttering the base is something that's kind of starting to be more and more on my personal watch list, where we're not going to have a solution for that again in the short term, but in the midterm, not even the long term, in the midterm, that's something I want to look at more, because it's like, it makes life difficult more than it makes it easy. It's hard to manage or even reorganize your base for defensive waves. If like a defensive wave is coming from one side, you have to like, it's just a pain in the ass. So there's definitely some elegance that could be reattained there that we don't have at the moment.
It's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. You have to rebalance. I mean, if you were to put buildings that aren't stored out on the actual base itself, you have to rebalance what their percentage values are as far as the 100% bubble is. It's a lot more work than just, I don't want to have those buildings out there.
Yeah, that is understandable, Data King. I mean, when they did reduce the power plants. They actually ended up giving us an extra power plant. And it, you know, I mean, this is kind of things that personally I would have coincided with another CC upgrade, or, you know, a buildings upgrade where you get to a point where you upgraded your you know, your oil pumps, and then it would rebalance that oil pump to produce enough where you can actually lose one, or lose, you know, a metal foundry.
You're only
You know,
required.
but yeah, you're absolutely right. The number of buildings you have to damage so they get the 100% then has to be adjusted.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You're not required to build walls. You're not required to build that extra storage item. You're not required to build all those pumps. There's a couple side missions that tell you to do them, but you know.
Oh yeah, I mean,
you don't have to build all of those items.
You don't have to build any pumps ever if you really don't want to.
Well, yeah, if you really don't want to, absolutely. I mean, for any new player starting out, I would suggest not.
Don't do it.
Don't do it at all.
No.
I mean, you know, but that's the truth of the matter. So it's just like I'm running into that problem with base size now as well.
Yeah,
like
you know, so again, some of it's just like it's a pain in the ass to manage the base. Like it's not like, even if you ignore the problem that like I just literally don't have room for stuff, just managing the base, it becomes unwieldy. So I do hear that. I don't think that's not like a tier 1 concern I have again, but it's on the list.
Yeah, I mean, like I went to go redo my base, pulled all the walls into the base editor, which is really cool. And I wish we had that feature for some of the other buildings as well. Yeah, you know, a little arrow button at the top where the walls are, and cycle through the different building types. Yeah, you know, that would be really easy. I mean, not even to place them, but just to pull them off so you can clear that area. Because the problem I have now is when I go to move my turrets and my resources and my bunkers and everything off to the side and start to place them, I don't have enough room in my base. They start stacking on top of one another, and it makes it really it's like Tetris. You know, it makes it really difficult.
Totally Tetris.
It really is.
Yeah.
Question.
Who's got a question? Anyone got a question?
Yes.
Well,
I've actually got.
There's a couple.
I got two quick fire ones. The first one is the war rig. A lot of players are questioning, like, what could we possibly use this for? Because we use it in. I used mine in a level 15 base in the event, and it's like it was level 8 at the time, and it was a survivor unit. It is a survivor unit, so I used it in a survivor 15. I was like, it'll be all right, and it died, and so I had a 16-hour repair. Of course, I didn't need it in that base. I was just testing it out, and I found out Acolytes destroy it. The second question, so is there anything like on that? And then
the short answer to that is, the war rig ain't cutting it right now. And we're going to try to address that. There are multiple ways in which we could address it. There's really two, right? Like we either could buff the unit, just period. And the other way is we do it through tech. And of course, the war rig will soon be getting tech, and we are taking its current reception and power level into consideration when deciding upon its tech. But that may not be enough. And I am not actually convinced that's entirely fair, to be honest. You know, you guys work hard for the units, and admittedly, I feel like getting the regular war rig isn't a huge stretch, but especially for people who pushed on the elite, like that does take some effort. Even if you solve the boss bases, you know, it takes some time, takes some effort to get that, and we want people to feel like there is value in what they do. So my bottom line is it's not strong enough. At least the tech will take that into consideration, and we may possibly, but I'm not going to promise, giving it a straight buff. But we gotta look at it a little bit more, because we want to make sure that if we do buff it, we don't fudge the bucket and go in the wrong direction and break the world with it. So sorry, there's the last part of that, which is strategically, the unit was designed to be more of a lawnmower, and not something that just sits and shoots. So the proper behavior is to run shit over with it. However, I'm not saying that it works in that capacity right now. So when we apply buffs to it, and through both the tech and through the balance of the unit, that is the goal of what we will be trying to make it succeed at.
Excellent. Excellent.
The second thing I had was, I think it was Salako that had made the post. He mentioned something about the CC what are we at? 10, 11, 12, something like that. But 12, awesome.
Easy to lose count, right?
Because I just spent my coin going to 11. I've been holding out. I finally went to 11, thinking, all right, now I can take some time, get some stuff, and then you guys dropped this crap on me.
Well, we did it just for you, so I don't know why you're pissed.
You did it. You know what? You did it.
Finally made it to 11. We can add 12. So I can talk a little bit to CC12. Sorry, is that your question? You want me to talk a little bit about CC12?
Well, it was something on that thread. It was the support turrets. A lot of people are curious about that because it just kind of mentions that we get support turrets, but I haven't seen anything. Is there any kind of, as Skip would say, like teasers or whatnot that you could give us about it?
So let me think about that. What can I say? I'll start by, let me talk about CC12 a little in general, because that might partially answer your question. The last CC upgrade, which was in December of last year, I believe, late December, you know, there's a certain amount of like, well, we just keep the base rolling, right? We just add more content to the base. I understand why that annoys players. I really do. I get that. But there's a certain amount of that which is necessary, I would say. But the last CC upgrade sure didn't feel necessary to me personally. It was kind of like, well, it was time to put one out, and it came together, and the end result was not satisfying. And part of that is because it felt like just a bunch of levels added to stuff for the sake of adding levels to stuff. And that is not something I want to repeat. So having said that, with the new upgrade, what we wanted to do is, and you know, we're not going to be able to hit every major, you know, concern or issue that players have with the current balance of bases, but the general goal was to try and look for some things that players would, you know, that you guys in general would either have been asking for or to provide actually new strategic elements to the game. Something that is a good way to strategize on defense and make defense more interesting. Because if, for example, we were to make PvP better, we would want defense to be something that was more interesting. And support turrets, to be as long-winded as humanly possible, are a way in which we're trying to solve for that a little bit. I'm trying to figure out like what I'm trying to, please understand, I'm trying to speak within the box I know in which I can speak.
That's all well and good. Take your time.
That's completely understandable.
I also don't want to overpromise because we're doing some investigations right now to make sure the crazy shit we have dreamt up is practical. So I think it's fair to say right now there is a lot of busyness in the base. We were just talking about this. And like when you go into a base and suddenly like, you know, 18 effing avalanches start shooting at you, it's kind of chaos, right? Like there's an element of chaos to that, which inhibits strategy. So what we wanted to do was look for a reason for you to not have that many avalanches, but provide you a better option. And support turrets are going to give you the ability to have turrets benefit each other.
Oh.
Probably the best way to say it. And you will have strategic options in that space, so it's not like one choice to rule them all. And part of the goal is, like when you look at a lot of players' base designs, right? Just player, like ignore kickside designs, like just player designs, the way you guys have to build your bases. We wanted to make it so that, quite frankly, so that there isn't just a best option. Because best options are boring. We want when you attack players, you know, when you PvP each other, excuse me, to have like, to have to look at someone's base and go, this person's base is built differently than this other person's base. I have to think about this and be smart and be strategic because the person I'm battling against has come up with a different base than I have fought before, right? So it's like we want to add an element of strategy and satisfaction in defense, which is also going to require a little bit more strategy on offense as well, especially in PvP. So you're like, if somebody's coming in and hitting you with a particular thing, you'll have a better avenue to counter that particular thing. And again, I know I'm being super fucking vague here and talking theory craft and shit, but these are the goals of the support turrets. And again, there's going to be options there. We're literally going to drop some more details on you guys in the next few weeks. And I'm going to be able to get like super, super detailed. I'm only being cagey now, not because I can't talk about the details of what we want to do, but because anything I say will immediately be held entirely accountable. Even if so those are all the goals. And I know that's a lot. And again, I know that's rambling, but I really wanted this CC upgrade and the things that were involved in the CC upgrade, the things that you get from it, to add like a new dimension and some new options to the game, not just be another 20 levels on some fucking building. So that's the general goal.
I got something real quick for you. The only absolute that I truly would like from KixEye is to make the game fun again. It's gotten really boring with all the upgrades and just the humdrum of it. That's the only absolute that me as a player I want from KixEye, is just to make the game fun. That's a lot.
Then you don't have fun smashing Phil's base every 36 seconds.
I love smashing Phil's base. Venom, your base is next. I already did Data King's base.
You gotta find me first.
Well, just in general.
No, that's a.
But he's right.
It's both awesome and painful to hear you say that, to be entirely frank. I mean, we all, like, at the end of the day, it is, at surface level, my exclusive job is to make the game fun. And I know that it's not fun for a lot of players, but I want to talk about just a little moment of philosophy on that, just a little bit, which is right now, one of the biggest detriments to fun is how much of a painful experience doing almost anything is because of those performance and stability issues that I know are in everyone's way. But when we look at, like, let's even take an example like, some bases being too hard. Well, we know that, like, there's like performance variables that some players experience and maybe we don't experience because our testing environments aren't like able to account for the variables, of like, I've talked about this just briefly on the forums earlier today, but like part of what I'm so excited for correcting this workshop hack is maybe we'll just see some freaking like real data. Like, we use data, we look at massive amounts of data to try and gauge like what is too hard and what is too easy. And that gets so corrupted when you have people hitting our bases with 50 pieces of a Hydra tech on their fucking Hydra. So like, part of making the game fun again is going to be closing these cheats down to make a fair environment and giving us real data. It's going to be making the game stable and performant so that it's not exploding all the time in your faces. And then on the design side of things, I feel like we'll be able to really evaluate how we need to adjust things to make the experience fun. Because I want the game to be fun. I want the game to be fun so badly. And I think it is fun for some people, and some parts of it are fun for some people. It's not like every inch of it is bad, but there's a ton we can do better, and I know this. And there's a ton of things that get in your way, and I know this. So let's hope that we can chip away at those things and get back to that core experience. And on my major list for that, after stability and performance improvements, is making sure that one of the big beats I want to hit is I want PvP to be better overall. I want it to be a better system, because when you're not engaging in the stuff that we put out from like the KixEye bases, whether it's, invasion or the event or just, freaking hitting a thorium target, right? Like I heard Venom saying it earlier, it's at its heart, what you do when you're not doing other things is you're smacking each other. Right? Like that's in some ways that's the heart of the game. Maybe not for everyone, but for a lot of players. And I want to make sure that that's a really solid experience. So we're going to be looking at that really hard.
Real quick, I just want to say, you're absolutely right. I know that you've said this on other shows and in the past that you are you are one of the few people that have a passion for your job, and you do have a passion not just for the job and your paycheck, but for the community, because the game, you wear it on your sleeve. And I've been one to notice that there's a lot of things that you've tried desperately to do. It's not always going as planned, but you've done a lot in order to try to get the game on a path that is acceptable and playable and fun for everybody at every level, depending no matter their game style or their drive in the game. So I mean, I know we haven't talked that up on shows like we should, but yeah, I mean,
there is no should, right? At the end, and I will say this: I appreciate being valued for my intent, but at the end of the day, I respect the fact that really what you should value is the results. So
the results do.
I know for a fact on Unshackled that you value the results.
The results do speak for themselves. Last year, when the repair hack got canned, we had the month following after the event was a pain in the ass. Yet the following month after, it slowed down and it became easy, so to speak, if that makes any sense. So the data does reflect, and you just got to get time to compile it all together. So expect next week's event to be a pile of shit, and then expect the month after to be perfectly fine.
Yeah,
hopefully
corrupt data
make up for it.
Yeah, corrupt data that you're pigeonholed to numbers and factors. You're not pigeonholed to playing from a computer sitting in the middle of the desert or playing from a computer in the middle of London. You have to look at what you can look at to try to balance the game out for us. And corrupt data has ruined a lot of the fair players' fun factor. But that, like you said, this will hopefully pan out and get right on the right path. Okay, I think Mothan had stuff to say.
All right.
Anybody? Go.
I got a few. I'm gonna answer a few. I'm gonna ask a few questions here. One regarding this has been asked a couple of times about the tokens. Now, people are saying that will they be available in the gear store eventually? Better payout with the faction bases that are coming out. So I mean,
yeah, I can talk about that. So there's a couple of parts to it. I mean, tokens are a new thing in the game, and I recognize that there's probably only like 20% of players that are okay with them right now in their current state. And I think that there's a couple of avenues that we can hit to resolve that. I think some of it, I think most of it, honestly, is just distribution. Like, so if it's a fair reward for the difficulty, okay, right? Like that's not so bad. But if it's staggeringly jabbing a fork in your eye for a single token, we done fucked up. So there's multiple parts. I mean, you asked a couple of questions. Just the gear store specifically, I'm actually not sure. We have not decided if we want to roll them into the gear store yet or not at some point. What I can say is a new token will never be released into the gear store. But once tokens have been out for a little while, it is possible, maybe even probable, that they will eventually get to the gear store. So expect that with a little bit of patience, things will eventually become more available. And to be fair, that's a typical cycle of our content to some degree. If we do it properly, stuff becomes available to the players who push the hardest, because that is sort of the nature of a competitive game. And then eventually, other players gain access to this content. And tokens should not be an exception to that. So that's sort of a, sorry?
I got to step in here 1 second.
Yeah, let me just, I'll conclude that sentence and then I will shut up.
Go ahead.
Which is just to say that to the token bases themselves, I am in agreement with the community about the challenge level and the value proposition not being correct there. So that said, they will not change prior to this coming event. After this event, we will probably be making some changes once we've had a week or two of actual post-hack data to evaluate. And then we'll make the right adjustments to make those a more reasonable value proposition, which will either be increasing token payout or lowering difficulty. I don't know which it will be yet.
Okay. My whole point to that was you got level 20 units in there. Level 20. We got level 10 units. How in the hell can anyone expect to beat that base without major damage?
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I think, like I said, I mean, I guess this is a little redundant, but I think the bases were a little overkill, maybe a lot overkill. So what I'll say is the best encouragement I can give is if you want to opt to not fuck with them right now, I respect that entirely. When they after the next event, and we'll post an update, you know, when we make our adjustments, but sometime between the next two events, ideally sooner to the coming event. So like right after would be my ideal time frame. If we have the bandwidth to do it, we'll make some adjustments there, and then hit it again, and let's see if we got, you know, and you don't even have to hit them, right? You can scout it and get a sense if we've made the right changes. So, you know, feel free to post about it on the forums or whatever when we make that round of changes, and let us know if you think that it was enough or if it was not enough. And I can't promise we'll always agree, but we agree right now.
Okay. Next question. Basically, we're summarizing up a few things. I know with the future of the CC12, any plans on more walls, air PvP, increasing of storage, maybe?
Yeah. So those are popular questions. Those are good ones. We're not currently planning to add more walls. Part of the reason we're not planning to do that at the moment is because we would like to make the PvP world a better place without adding a bunch more walls to manage. And they're also one of the areas, so each wall is its own building entity. So there might be performance optimizations to make in there where we do things like give you guys wall pieces, if that makes sense. So like you would have something that's like wide and tall and you could plop it down and yeah, so that would ease you you know, your experience with putting walls down a little bit, and then maybe open the door to us increasing the number of walls without negatively affecting performance. That's sort of the walls one. The air PvP platoon. So I said something on the forums like, I don't know, like 6 months ago that said that was something that I was interested in. And that got construed at the time as me promising it. So I am going to have to be cagey on that point. But what I'll say is perhaps I am even more interested in that lately than I was back then. We'll leave that at that. The last one for storage. Storage is a very interesting one. So it's probably the most intricate from a design and business perspective. I'm going to be as candid as humanly possible. Right now, the way storage interacts with platoons and putting units in and out of platoons and in and out of storage is such that you can abuse that relationship to make things cheaper than is reasonable for our business model. Most players don't do that, but enough of them do, and the more prominent we make that, the more it impacts us as a company, which is kind of a poopy answer. So in the short term, what we are tentatively planning on doing is completely removing all costs associated with moving units in and out of the armory and increasing armory space so that you can move any units you have in and out of there for free. And the additional space will probably be a part of the CC12 update. However, the free of charge part of moving units in and out of the armory will be available to all players.
That I actually do respect.
That's
I mean,
fantastic.
the only other option I had would have been revamping unit size over changing space values, and that becomes a catastrophe. You know, trying to figure that out, because again, like you said, the potential for exploiting that is just massive. So
yeah, and the armory has like the theoretical advantage from the business perspective, and I do, my position requires that I'm a bit pragmatic on such issues, but the advantage of utilizing the armory this way is you can't exploit, like, you know, low health behaviors in and out of the armory because it restricts that. And ultimately, if we give you guys the storage space through that, but keep that restriction in place without removing, the full health restriction on armory content, that should give you guys a pretty reasonable easing of that particular frustration. And it won't be perfect, but being able to use that without having to spend your resources, I think will again hopefully alleviate that a little bit. I don't think it'll solve it. There's gonna be more internal work thinking about what the best solution is to that, and maybe there's more work to be done. There's going to be more work to be done, but hopefully that will ease things.
Yeah, I like the idea of the armory because I can put a lot of stuff that I use for specific bases. I can put all that, like my event units, for instance, they're all in my armory, and I pull them out for the event. Back when we had the Herald bases, all my Hades were in the armory, and then on Sunday I would yank them out.
Yep,
I love that, and I realized that it went up to 25,000 space, and I was like, wait, that's an extra 25,000, giving me a total of 65,000 space.
Yeah. And that's really what it's there for, Dava. Like, you're using it the way that we intended to use it. And sometimes we introduce systems into the game that, man, like, this is one of the big things with PvP. I don't mean to keep going back to PvP, but, like, let's be real about PvP. There's a lot of ways to exploit that system. And when I say exploit, I don't mean cheat. I don't mean people using, like, hacks. I mean, when I use the word exploit, I'm talking about we have developed a system in the game. The development team developed a system that was abusable by players within the rules that we, the team, set forth. And because of that, it puts us into a weird spot where it's like we've got to make fundamental changes need to occur. And then suddenly the system becomes what we all want it to be. And the armory and storage is one example of that. PvP is another example of that, where we may have to do things from time to time to remove exploits from the game. But if the result of that is that we get a world in which the people who are, the most skilled and the most dedicated are triumphant, then that is a success, in my view.
Okay, no, that's more than an acceptable answer to me.
It's very acceptable to me.
Cheers, yeah.
I've got 2 final questions to ask from me.
Yeah.
And one of them is actually from the YouTube. They're asking about dropships coming back.
Yeah. Dropships are an interesting one. Yeah. Let me answer that one, and then you can ask your other questions. So dropships are something where we don't have a specific timetable for dropships, and they've always remained on my radar as something that I'd like to bring back. The whole point of dropships, in a way, dropships were designed to get you around the map faster and actually to help address people who are aggressively jailing or even self-jailing to prevent engagement. Excuse me. So that's still something that I'm interested in, but I think that PvP has more underlying issues than dropships. So what I would hope to do is find ways to improve the PvP experience first, and then when the need arises for dropshipping, when people are actually engaging in the system more and having more fun with that, then we'll need to bring dropships back and make sure they fucking work.
Let us test them first.
Yes, please let us test them first.
We will happily test the dropships for free, and we'll give you any feedback that you need.
Yeah.
We will. I mean, you just let us know when, and this panel, I guarantee you, will test them thoroughly.
Free of charge. You don't have to give us anything.
Yeah. We have issues with our... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So now my final question is regarding in-res itself. Okay, we all, with max storage, you can have 350 million res. Your Thor, I can't remember what it is now.
80?
120, I think.
Yeah, anyway.
It might have gone up since I left.
With that being said, now it costs Thor to build a lot of these new units. And when you scrap them, you get nothing in return. However, with the older units, which was just regular metal and oil to build, at full health, when scrapping them, we got something back.
You got a fourth of the cost back.
Yeah. So with that being said, will we see a refund, basically, a partial, or I will say it this way, a restock fee for scrapping these units.
I'm not opposed to that at all. I can't immediately promise anything because, to be entirely frank, I haven't thought about that much. So it's a good thing to bring up. That would be the kind of improvement that we wouldn't gate to any players. That would have to be something that we would provide to all players. So it wouldn't be like gated by a building or anything like that because it's just so universal. So again, I can't promise anything, but I think it's a good idea. I don't know why we're not doing that.
All right, got a couple. These are a couple more from YouTube. YouTube's been really good today. So they're asking. The first thing is legendary units. Is there anything working on that? Anything in the putt? And then someone else said, is there any ideas to slow down content? Like, I guess they feel that there's a lot of units coming out and tech and the workshop, even though a lot of players like the new faction thing where you're getting tech and it's not like bronze, silver, and gold where there's specific bases. Tech is definitely a lot more available now than I think it ever has been. But in the same token, you're getting a lot of new units every month that get tech. And then, like, I used to be a master of the workshop. If you named a tech, I could tell you what it was for, what it did. I looked at the event sheet, the prize list last event, and I was like, what does this do? What does this do? And I play 8 hours a day easily, either smashing stuff or hitting rogues or farming or whatever, just because I have no life. But work commander's fun,
No, totally. I mean, yeah, for the record, back in the day, I'll name drop that I maybe 15 years ago now, I was a massive 8-hour-a-day Counter-Strike player. Just for
respect.
Yes, much.
my big thing was, and I'll get to your questions, but my big thing was I always like to use the scout to pick off offers. That was like my game because I hated the fucking off, the 40
Yeah.
And I would just headshot people with the regular old scout, and that took some practice because you actually had to headshot someone to get anyway. I got accused of cheating a lot in those days. The trick was headphones. So let's go to first question first, which was legendary units. So if you ever want to call me out on a promise not fulfilled, that was a damn good one because not this past state of the game, but the previous one, I said, we're going to get to fixing the legendary units, which are a sack of poop. And I sure didn't do that. So we're going to try again. And I'm bumping them up on the priority list a little bit because as I've sort of mused about a bit on this stream already, I think there's value in PvP that is being undermined by various things. And I think a great way to help get some value back, and this isn't like the PvP saver, but I think it would go nice with PvP improvements, is getting those legendary units to be not terrible. So it didn't happen last quarter. I do apologize for that, as that was a promise that you can safely consider broken, not deliberately, but so many hours in the day, I suppose. And I'm up prioritizing that. So expect that in probably the next 8 weeks. You'll see those legendary units be useful.
Excellent. Anything else? Anything else?
And
one other thought on legendary units. Sorry, I think this is worth bringing up. The legendary megatank specifically had radically longer upgrade times than the other two, which was kind of a mistake. So if me saying we're going to make them better makes you want to burn through the upgrades of those, there's a good chance that we'll actually be lowering the legendary megatank one. I understand that frustrates some people who did spend the time to upgrade them, but there's a certain degree of unreasonableness and lack of consistency to the current pricing. So if you're like, oh, we're going to, Kix is going to buff the legendary units, I should upgrade these, my advice to you would be wait on the legendary megatank especially, because that is probably going to see some upgrade time reductions to match the convention used by the other legendary units.
Alrighty. Anything else?
Oh, speaking of legendary units, I've got one. Will we see the legendary hover tank?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, so that means I gotta fly all my hover tanks. I gotta rebuild all my hover tanks again. Oh my god.
So
or even a unit, modern unit like like the hover tanks, even for PvE and PvP, like the Liberators are ERMs and that kind of thing. Make something like the hover tank, but like modern.
What I will say is it's definitely step one, regardless of anything else, is fixing the ones we've got. I don't want to sell anyone anything else until we made good on that long overdue promise of those three being useful. So that is something that will receive attention first. And then as for what comes next, open question. I apologize, W, you had asked a second question that I don't believe I answered. What was that second question?
Oh, yes. A lot of people on YouTube are actually shouting because I'm not answering this, but I haven't asked this yet, but they're asking if there would be a way to potentially slow down on content and maybe like not so crazy, because a lot of people also like with the workshop, there's a lot of stuff in the workshop, and it's good that there's workshop units and you can put different techs on and all that, but a lot of people
allow a certain person who's been away from the game 2 years to catch up.
Yeah.
And also kind of a second part to that is they wanted to know if you can do like bi-monthly events instead of like monthly. This way would give you guys more time to develop an event and stuff, and it would give us a time to upgrade stuff. Like this event, it was nice we got the War Dogs because now we got a month. We don't have a tank or something that so now our tech centers and our hangar is good for another month. But like when you guys release tanks and stuff, tanks and air, that ties up we have to kind of keep up with the latest and greatest if that unit isn't any good, like the Juggernaut. A lot of people have to stop their stuff for the Juggernaut, you know?
So let me, so to part one of your question, just general content flow, we've taken some steps to reduce the amount of content. You know, we went just recently from 2 units to 1 unit in the monthly event. And yes, that 1 unit has slightly higher upgrade time, but it's got less upgrade time than those 2 units that you were getting combined. So that is one step that we took. As of 6 months ago, or 9 months ago, we were actually releasing our scheduled calendar had there being 8 different superpowered uniques a year, which was too much. So we're down to 4 there. You know, we sort of have the quarterly cycle on those. But having said that, there is a point which we have seen historically where the amount of content we release gets too low to sustain the business model. I do not believe we are too low at the moment, but I also believe that we have done some cutbacks now. So what I'd say is there are no immediate plans to reduce the amount of content from where we are currently, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to like go back up again in terms of the amount of content. So it's sort of cagey, I guess, but we're always adapting to and trying different things. And I do hear the concern about content volume a lot by players. So hopefully this current is a little bit better than it was. And if we can push things farther, then I'm always open to that. But we have to do this gradually because of the profound effect that has on the business model.
Yeah, I look back at
to the second question. That's a really short answer. Are we ever going to go from 1 event a month to 1 event every other month? That is very unlikely, unfortunately. Just the cadence of that is probably going to change.
I think that I think the two go hand in hand. I was the guy that knew every stat for everything off the top of my head 2 years ago, and everything's changed. So I've been spending a lot of time in the wiki page, just catching up, seeing what's what and what can shoot, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Going back, looking at the events over the last 2 years, I don't think the amount of content is the problem on a month-to-month event, but it probably could be scaled back a little bit after looking at a lot of the requirements for a lot of these things and hearing some of the feedback from the players of how easy it is now for other players to help lower levels acquire things. So they get a backlog and their base has to catch up in order to keep those units viable. So you're seeing a lot of players keeping low-level bases to not falsely level up so they can keep upgrading those units and, you know, keep themselves small to put themselves in a better situation for PvP. One of the gentlemen in YouTube brought it up. He says, I don't think getting rid of monthly events is a thing, but perhaps not giving so much new content every other month to allow those players to catch up. You know what I mean? Because like I'm at the point now where I've got Hades, I've got Phalanx, I've got Fury, I've got Jugs.
Right. So you're just
like
upgrading.
all in a 2-week span, and I'm going to be getting other things in the event, and I'm going to have such a backlog just on a small portion of units.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine what it would be like for the average Joe who's been here for 2 years and has 4 or 5 or 6 units, if not more, just staring him in the face going, one day I'll be able to use them.
Yeah. And the honest is, in some ways, for those players, it's better, and in some ways, it's worse. So there's trade-offs to that. But I definitely hear what you're saying, man. So again, like the best answer I can give there is that we're always evaluating that, and I do think that the amount of content we release or need to release to help sustain the business model is somewhat going to be at odds with the player desire to just play with what they got. And I think there is a certain reality there that I wish did not exist.
Mm-hmm.
But I think some of that will always exist. But for what it's worth, it's something that we seriously consider when we make changes like the change we recently did at the 1 unit a month approach, where we seriously consider, like, you know, how can we balance this in a way that makes, you know, you guys as happy as you can be, as we can make you, while not undermining, you know, the core business model of the game.
Yeah, I just want to say, just to speak to that, I understand, I agree 100%, and Data King is right in a lot of aspects, but I want to say it's not so much been the content. I mean, we've tried to use the content release as kind of the root of the situation, but it more so has been my personal accustomed belief that, you know, we got a unit, we had some time to work with it, develop it, upgrade it, toy around with it, and then use that unit in the upcoming event. And that's why a lot of people were asking for that bi-monthly event structure rather than a month-by-month event structure, which would give us that extra 30 days to level up our unit and to play around with it in other PvE aspects and PvP attacks. But yeah, I can understand what you're saying, so I appreciate the answer. My little quirk to this, and then I'm shutting the fuck up, is
we are running quite long.
I know we're running long. It's real quick answer.
Wants to disappear shortly.
I know it's a yes or no. It's a yes or no question. Let me answer my damn question.
Yes or no. That is it.
Okay.
I still have a question for
shut up.
Shut up. Let me finish. Let me finish.
All right. Okay, you go ahead.
Fuck's sake.
Yes.
One quick fire question from everyone on the panel. Yes or no answers only.
I have a
David.
1 or 2 question. So he
one question.
Yeah, no, it's 1 question, but he can choose because he cannot go into details. In the beginning of this tonight's show, me and Venom were speculating about the new unit, the Cyclops. Venom thought, first of all, he thought it was a laser tank kind, but I read it, it was a sustained damage type. So I was suspecting it was an enforcer type. So 1, laser tank type, or 2, enforcer type.
I would say the closest comparison in the modern meta is, in a way, a laser shooting mobile version of the Avalanche turret. Does that answer your question?
Shit.
Damn.
Really different.
That works.
Nice.
Yeah.
Leave something for the imagination. Thank you, WRONGTHINKER.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. Nice question.
I'm going to wait until the very last because mine might not be that long. So go ahead.
God damn it, David. Dabba.
It's about events. Come on.
All right. Dabba, go.
All right, here's a popular one from YouTube. What are these? Spec Ops, Special Ops, like Hand of God and all that stuff. In the gear store and what we win in the base, like what we win in PvE bases. Is there any plans to update those to modern, to like give us modern units like Liberators or whatever?
So not quite yes or no, but I'll be brief. It's my time I'm playing with as much as everyone else's, I suppose. Yes, plans to update, no immediate timetable. Spec Ops are one of the systems in the game that unfortunately does have some exploitative behavior that can go with them, again, used by a percentage of players. So we need to solve those exploitative behaviors, and then we will be able to make them really meaningful for everyone again, except for It's Electric, which is already meaningful.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Deja, you got a question? Yes or no, please? Try and keep it short.
I just wanted to say thank you, Wrong Thinker, for coming out. To both Dr. Phil and the panel, thank you for letting us be here. I really enjoyed this session. I can't remember a good one as good as this in a long time. To those on YouTube and to my clan in 108, thank you very much. Y'all have a great evening.
All right. Lady Warrior, have you got a question?
Oh, yeah, and it's one everybody on YouTube's asking all night. We think we know the answer, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. Wrong Thinker, will we ever get a second dozer? I'm sick of them asking every third person is saying dozer. I'm sick of them asking, so I'm throwing it out.
No.
I will go with this. Not likely, but it is possible that fewer things may require the dozer in the future.
Oh, nice.
Oh, great. Good answer. Thank you. I'm glad I asked it now. And thank you for coming on the show. We really, really appreciate it. And I hope you come back and visit us again.
Really?
Data, have you got a question?
Why didn't I get a welcome back package? Listen. If there was anybody who needs a welcome back package, it's this guy.
You know, I'll tell you one thing. I'll give you a little story that's worth it, and I will take an extra minute on my day for this one. When I first started on this project, and I've not been on it since the beginning. I've been on the project for coming up on about, coincidentally, it's like 2 years. Is that right? About 2 years, I think, coming up in maybe November. And when I came on, I was trying to get a sense of the game. You know, it was a big game, new to the game, trying to get a sense of it. And I went on to some of the YouTubes and, you know, checking out the streams and the YouTubes. And I saw one of the early, I want to say it was an early Battle Vortex stream. And I saw Data King on there. And I was looking and trying to get a sense of like who kind of knew their shit. And you were on the list of people that knew their shit. And I'm like, I got to pay attention to this guy. And like 2 weeks later, you're like, I'm fucking done with this game.
There's your answer.
That didn't work out. Now I'll get my chance. So thanks for coming back, man. Hopefully your package materializes. I'm not the controller, keeper, or understander of how that magic mojo works. But I'm sorry that you didn't.
We're back for 2.5 weeks now, and I'm still waiting. I get that package that I can get training coins for that. What's that little helicopter that's everybody's
Apollo training
the Apollo. I don't want the Apollo.
Yeah.
Well, you might actually be in luck. There's some stuff dropping in the update. Like
I don't know.
Units, some acolytes, some liberators, and some Spartans. That dropped this week because it was in the update notes.
I tried to update it where he.
Wow, for what it's worth.
It's better than a kick in the nuts. Venom, you got a question?
Yeah, I'll get my one question. Me being a person that only collected one of the new war dogs, and having the base that specifically was single unit accessible, are there plans for other units to fall into the same line? Are there going to be more bases coming out where it's only that single solitary unit is deployable in the base?
The answer to that is yes, and I'll tell you exactly what it's going to be, so there's no surprises. Would you like to guess?
Liberators.
Cyclops.
No, I'm going to
Cyclops.
Cyclops is correct.
Yeah. All right. So now the focus for the community: get some Cyclops. Don't fall to the wayside like I did and fuck your game up.
Yeah, and it is worth noting those are bonus bases. Like we're trying to make them like a super strategic example of like helping people to be like, okay, here's how I use this unit. So most players were able to figure it out with only, you know, not even half a platoon of the war dogs. So it's not like it's super crazy, but they do require some thought. They do require figuring it out, and hopefully they'll illustrate for players great ways to use the unit.
Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Martha, have you got a question?
Okay, I just read the funniest thing on YouTube, so I'm going to have to ask. Paintball Wonder says, poor guy looks like they have him locked in a cell. Does Kixeye have you locked in a cell, yes or no?
That could be true. I can log in and see.
Is it a cell? It's a cell with a foosball table?
Sorry, it was like the most funniest thing I read, so I had to ask that question.
Oh, dear.
Sorry.
He's going to say no because Kickstarter's probably watching.
Yeah, open question. Let's go with that.
That's an open question. Okay. David, your question, since you're going to do what you do and fuck with my chi like you do every goddamn week.
No, I'm going to try not to this time, but I'm going to make it short and sweet. I will admit this. I love the new event structure. You have the main track, you have the faction track. However, for the lower players, will you bring back, and I know everybody kind of liked it, the tier A, B, and C for the lower players?
That's a good question. While we're always toying with the event structure, that particular system ended up being a problem. And the reason for that was sometimes what would happen is like a tier B player would, instead of playing tier B, complete tier C 300 times and then complain that the game was grindy instead of completing tier B twice. So because of that, part of the reason we veered away.
I've never complained about being a grind.
Like, I don't mean to belittle the claim grind, but that was their own damn fault.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe the suggestion there would be maybe level lock it.
Could be like a beginner tier. That's a fair argument. So I'm not going to say never. And to your point, there are sometimes multiple ways to address a problem. So maybe there's a way that we can bring that back at some point. It's not currently in the cards, but hell, man, you know, we're always poking at stuff, obviously, whether you like it or not. So,
in all honesty, in events, I understand it does take a little gearing and retooling to make them better. As we all know, the first events that come out are a pain in the you-know-what. You're always ending up bringing the game down or making a quick change to the difficulty levels of them. So, yeah.
And like with ABC, I used to make videos every single time of those. I said, if you can't, like, there's no reason that if you want a unit, you should be able to get it. Just grind tier C. And yeah, it is a grind, but at least then the medium and low levels, they all had an equal chance. It was basically on them at that point. It wasn't like
before Wrong Thinker's laptop dies or he gets jumped on by the men in black, so to speak. Personally, I want to thank him for taking the time out of his day to come and sit on the show with the rest of us clowns and discuss the game as it should be discussed. It's nice to have the communication with someone at Kickside face to face, so to speak. So I want to personally thank you for that. And do you want to give any last words before you go?
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, and you know, I just gotta thank you guys and the community at large because, and also whoever the hell gave up their seat on the panel. The game ain't perfect, and nobody at Kickside is under any misconceptions that it is. And you guys have had to put up with some stuff, especially on that performance and stability front. So I'm really hopeful we get it solved out. I want to, like I said, you guys have put up with a lot and you've stuck with us. And some of you didn't stick with us and came back, and that's awesome too. But we want to deserve that. And I personally want to make sure that this game deserves your time. Even for those of you, who aren't coiners, I want it to be worthy of your time because time is valuable. And so I really, really appreciate it. And I also want to say I do watch these videos. I would say I watch probably 75% of them, with the honest number. And I do read the forums. I'm on the forums. I can't always find the time to respond, but I do read the forums. So, feel free to provide feedback. Solaka will get it to me. I will get it. I will view it myself. Like I said, I'm checking the videos and on the forums myself. And when you guys have a bad day because you go on and you sick your Juggernaut on a base and you get 50 fucking pop-ups and you take 13 hours of damage. And I see you guys post about that. I can say as sincerely as anyone can say a thing. When I see you post about that, I feel like shit. And it doesn't mean you shouldn't post it. but it depresses me that, you know, this game needs to be and should be. I forget who said it earlier, but it should be like it should be a fun experience. Doesn't mean it shouldn't have zero stress. It's a competitive game too, but it should be a fun stress and it should be a positive experience. And I feel like a damn shill to say it, but I'm really hopeful we get it right in the next 3 months in terms of getting rid of some of these big walls and barriers that you guys have had. So I'm appreciative of your time and your efforts, and, you know, Phil sticking around and doing the show, and, you know, Shadow Killer's random cameos. Coming back, and everyone who stuck with us, and all the community well beyond the Unshackled show who sticks with us and posts their feedback and their thoughts. So hopefully, again, in the next few months, your patience will be rewarded. We'll get rid of some of these other problems, and fuck it, we can make War Commander great again.
Thank you very much for coming along.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, WRONGTHINKER.
Well, that was an hour and a half we had him on the show almost.
That was
190
fantastic.
people watching the show right now.
Yes.
I think it's the longest he's ever been on a War Commander live stream.
Yeah.
Like by the community live stream.
Has he been on one before?
It's incredible.
It's what's most impactful is this is something he chose. He's watching our show, and he decided to come on because we are an open mic show. So he chose to come on. We didn't beg for him. We didn't ask for him. So much respect for him giving back to the community and being a person who cares. So
yeah, very pleased
that
he did that.
The last time he
a long time.
on the show was almost a year ago, and he appeared for about 20 minutes on the Old Battle Vortex show, and he was talked over.
William just said in chat at one point our max listeners was 198. Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
I've never seen that.
It is. And personally, I want to thank each and every one of you on the panel for not absolutely railing.
I thought I did when I bitched about the command center. I thought I did rail.
Not really, though. No,
I need to talk to Shadow Killer and get some shitstorm fucking cuss out tricks.
Yeah, but you know what though?
Please, I'd like him to come back.
From a long time ago, on the other show, we learned that you can't rail at them. They can only do so much. They're only, you know, these guys who come on the show are only in charge and can control a small little portion. You know, they can't control the development of stuff. They can't control the business model. They can't control the release of things. You know, they can provide feedback and everything like that. And, you know, that's not, it doesn't do us any good as a community to just lay into these guys. You know, they've got to hear it from the ground level, and they've got to be able to take it back to their superiors and say, hey, listen, I was on the show with these guys, and these guys said this, and this. Let's look into this. Can we check this out? You know, and eventually it gets done, you know, but like we have a problem now, and you can't expect them to turn around and drop everything they've planned, everything they've pumped money into to develop, and just to fix that one thing because you said so, because it's not going to happen.
Precisely.
You know?
And it's a two-way street of him giving honest, concise answers and not beating around the bush when he could. I mean, obviously he stayed aloof and cagey with certain things because of upcoming deployment. But when it came to issues that are current in game now, we asked him straightforward questions. He gave straightforward answers.
That was
so that's the communication that we've always asked for, and he has been 99.9% of the time he's been on point, and that's why he's one of the few that I don't jump down the throat of and kind of understand a lot. So
yeah, but guys, you forget one thing. They're humans too, you know. And can you imagine if you have people, you know, we're talking about thousands of people that talk negative bullshit about you, that you don't feel like communicate with the people, you know, at a certain stage. Even if you have a great bank account, I would be like, okay, fuck you all, you know.
I'm sorry, but I feel like we brought him into, he joined all by himself, but we brought him into the state of the game, and it worked and we talked to him about things that are current in the game, and he gave us the best he could. I'm proud of that.
Yeah, we got real good questions from YouTube. Some that were not appropriate for him, and we told them that. But I enjoyed having him here. He did say, he answered what he could. He told us when he couldn't. Because like you said, if he says something on the show today, we're going to hold him to it forever.
Which does happen.
Yeah, exactly. It does happen. It does happen. I mean, how many times have we went back to look for something that somebody's posted? They said, "Oh, on such and such time, we're going to get this," and we've tried to hold him to it.
Just an.
I'm thrilled.
I was talking to PM. Let him talk. Let him comfort him, and let him give answers. Sorry to all the people out there that Wrong Thinker could not answer all of your questions.
That's always going to be a necessary evil when you get somebody like that. I've been on shows with devs and with CMs. Hell, I had the fucking co-founder of Kickside, Paul Priest, on 2 shows in 2 back-to-back weeks with a shit ton of questions back when I was doing Vega. That was last year. And we polled him the first week with a set of questions, and then we polled the community for the second week and asked all the questions that the community had posted, and they still shit on us for not asking the right questions. You're never going to please 100% of the community, whether they like it or not. We asked him as many questions as we could come up with. We polled the YouTube for as many questions as we could get, and we asked as many as physically possible and as many as ably possible. And Wrong Thinker, whether he could answer them or not, he said he was either being vague or was being candid or was being bang on the money, because we do hold them accountable for whatever Soloco says, whatever Wrong Thinker says, whatever Sobo Cop says now, and whoever else comes on and appears out of the woodwork in the future. Kicksai have to be held accountable. It's one of those things that I've been broadcasting for a very long time. Instead of having a go at each other, aim the so-called reticule at Kicksai and fire straight at them. And the fact of the matter is that we didn't paint a bullseye on Ron Thinker's head. We didn't yell at him. We didn't berate him. We didn't have a go. We asked the most necessary questions, even a few joke questions that I threw in there every once in a while, just to keep the flow nice and balanced, so to speak. And it goes down to it's what's the fucking word I can't think of? No, I can't think of the word.
Whoa, Doc
all
can't
of
think
that
of
was
the word.
relevant. We brought Wrong Thinker here. He brought himself, but everything we asked was relevant to what is happening with the game.
Exactly.
And he gave us some really nice.
I love.
He gave us some future stuff too, like what might be happening.
Yeah, even at the end when we were kind of fast and furious throwing question, I felt bad because it was kind of holding him up, especially with his battery going low. But I did like that last bit, the yes or no. Just a simple yes or no is a great way to end the questions, to let him carry on. That worked well.
What he could answer and what he did answer, I'm very happy with. I mean, he gave us a lot of insight on the future of things, what may or may not happen. Nothing we can hold him to, and I'm happy with that.
I am too. I was very, very pleased with the answers that he gave.
I personally, I want to thank him for coming on. As everybody knows, that he wasn't forced to come on here. He came on here basically on his own time. He stuck around probably at Kickside just because of this massive update that's going on. But I want to thank him for showing up. He didn't have to, but he does. He even admits to watching these shows. I hope he watches the last half hour that we're going to be on, or 45 minutes, just to hear the shout outs. I hope he comes back on.
I do too.
I mean, Ron, if you hear this, I'm going to probably speak for the whole panel and probably the community. You are more than welcome to come on anytime you want. If it means I have to drop out, I will drop out just so you can be on.
Yep. Somebody
right,
will
David.
drop for you.
Yes. Doc, shut up. Nobody asked you.
I'm running the show, so you can't get rid of me.
No.
Yeah, that's true. We can't.
This is the way show's supposed to be, guys.
We just have to make sure though the next time he comes on, it's not when David's reading update notes or something, because he might go to sleep and we will get no answers. I love you, David.
And Hunter, this one's for you. You're getting a timeout.
It won't be a show without Hunter getting it, and that's the second one.
I gave him one earlier.
That's right. But you know, he usually averages 2 to 3 anyway. So there you
2
go.
to 3 a show. So I'm going to wrap this up. It's just hit 3 o'clock in the morning. So David,
wow.
will you please give me your shout outs and your last words for this evening?
Okay. So, Doc, thank you for putting on the show. Wrong Thinker, a really big shout out for you coming on this show. I mean, we hit a record high, I think, on this. So
Yes.
for those of you that are watching out on YouTube, thank you for sticking with us. For the trillions and trillions that will watch this later, I hope you enjoy it, because I really did enjoy this show more than any other. This was probably the best show to date.
Yes.
So with that being said, thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, David. Dob of Phoenix, shout outs and last words for this evening.
Yes, it was nice to finally meet you, Wrong Thinker, face to face, and have communication. I would always try to get on with the other shows to like meet and greet with you and whatnot. But it's nice that you came on your own free will and are willing to communicate with us and be out in the forums. And you're doing a really good job at the forums and whatnot. Keep up the good work. You're welcome back anytime you want. Tomorrow or Saturday, tomorrow we should be doing a rave run about 9:30 Eastern normal time. So come join us as we smash Sector X. I guess we didn't get to do one today.
No, we did not.
No.
Okay.
There's always tomorrow.
Tomorrow's festivities, 9:30 Eastern. Be there, be square. And the quadrillions that will be watching. Quadrillions of you guys that will be watching.
There's always quintillion.
No, don't give David ideas.
God damn it, Dr. Phil. I was going to say that.
I asked the YouTube who's been here since the beginning, and nobody has responded that they were. So shout out to Dr. Phil for running the show and actually keeping this. 3 a.m. your time? So thanks for your dedication to War Commander Unshackled.
Always. Deja, last words, shout out, please, buddy.
I would first off like to thank Wrong Thinker. I enjoyed him being here. It was his own free will. He just showed up. That was awesome. He gave us more information than we could ever hope for. To Dr. Phil, thank you for hosting the show. It does great for the community that we are just here. The panel, I would like to thank you very much for being here. We haven't had this diverse a panel in a long time, and I appreciate it. The users in YouTube, thank y'all for showing up, for listening. Please remember, like and subscribe. To 108, my Hell's Clan, welcome. Glad to be a member. And lastly, but not least, go away, Token Commander. Later.
Lady Warrior, your last words and your shout outs, please, darling.
Oh, well, as everyone else has said, thank you very much, Wrong Thinker, for coming on the show tonight and answering the questions that you could and giving us a little bit of an idea of what the future might bring. We really, really, really do appreciate it. It's nice to finally have an actual voice in face with KIXI instead of just a post on a page. So we greatly appreciate that. Thank you especially to Dr. Phil for staying up so late, keeping us on track like he always does. Thanks to the rest of the panel for coming on and getting all of the questions together out there in YouTube land. that everybody was asking. Thanks to everyone in YouTube land. BJ, thank you for the marriage proposal, but I don't know, honey. We'll have to talk about that. Shout out to 164. Shout out to XR. I love you guys. I think that'll do it for me.
All right, Pascal, my brother, shout out, please, my friend.
I want to shout out to everybody who is involved in the show tonight, and also the YouTube viewers, because I give a thumbs up for all of you, because it was really sportive. AFF, KT, everybody was there. They all was, you know, productive and informative. The questions that were made was super. Yeah, it was really enjoying for me to be a part of this. Thank you.
No problem. Data King, shout out and last words.
Shout out to Sector 49. Big ups to Pascal and his lovely lady for giving me all the help. Daba, Fa, everybody from Raid. I really appreciate the help. I hope one day I'll be able to repay the favor like I used to. Big shout out to Wrong Thinker. Really nice to see him pop in and provide as much information and to hear everything that we had to say. I think some good came out of it, and I look forward to seeing him again, and you know, getting down to the nitty gritty.
Thank you very much. Venom, shout outs, last words.
Well, seeing as how I learned a word last show, I'm going to give people a word that they probably haven't heard this show. And since you stole the one I was going to use, for the quadrocillion people out there, yes, I think that's to the 30th power or the 45th power. I don't know. I can't remember.
That's 5th to the 10th power.
The 10th. Okay, there you go. Of viewers that have or will watch in the future. You can mute through all my bullshit and my rants because I'm a rambling idiot. But take the time, rewatch the show, get the information. It was very informative, and I want to thank Wrong Thinker for coming out and you know, being approachable and coming on the show of his own free will and giving us informative answers. Because without him on that side of the aisle, us on this side of the aisle, and everyone outside in the family, in the War Commander community, this game would have nothing. So we appreciate his efforts and the fights he makes, and I'm glad he takes our advice and takes our feelings and our theories into consideration. So appreciate both him coming and both him taking our stuff to the rest of the War Commander development staff. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Venom. Martha, shout outs, last words. Keep it clean.
Oh, God,
I know you. Martha, wakey.
Oh, my thing was muted. Okay, can you hear me now?
Hey, that's the best way.
Okay, well, I'll keep it clean enough. Thanks for the rub and tug, Doc. Appreciate it.
You're not supposed to tell anyone. You broke the contract.
Sorry, bro. I had to. Anyway, thanks to Wrong Thinker for coming on the show. Thanks to Forbidden Fruit for giving up their seat on the panel for Wrong Thinker tonight.
That was me.
And Pascal, too. Both of them left at the same time.
And I left and came back.
And Venom. So, you know, everybody, thank you for, you know, willing to give up your seats for Wrong Thinker to come on. You know, it was really appreciated that Wrong Thinker did come on, answer a ton of questions, even the humor that we had to throw out there to kind of get some laughing going on. It was getting a little too serious, so we had to break that up. Shout out to 49, Raid. That's all.
Excellent stuff.
And just real quick, the game is trying to come back up now. It's currently sitting at system overload. Oh, mine's loading.
Don't tell them that. They'll all bugger off and go play War Commander when I haven't finished yet.
They won't leave before you finish, Dr. Phil. It's still in. It's still in overload.
Well, since Venom taught you all a new word this evening, I'll teach you another one. It's octodecillion, and that's 8 to the 10th power. So fuck you, Ven. So for the octodecillion people that are going to watch the show and rewatch the show and continue to watch it back. Sorry, I had to do that to you. I'm sorry.
Venom betrayed me. Normally he's on my side.
To you guys on this panel tonight, of course, my extraordinary respect for the respect you showed Wrong Thinker when he came on the show this evening. For 85% of the guys on YouTube that I haven't banned tonight for not being assholes, and to you guys being respectful enough to the guy who took the 90 minutes instead of the half an hour that he said he was going to be here for. It's incredible. It really is. He took that amount of time out of his schedule to sit and bullshit and talk the game and talk tactics and talk everything, and all of the questions that he answered, whether you like the answers or not, he answered them. And it's absolutely astounding to see that happen on this show. But bearing in mind, somebody once said that we'd never have anybody from Kicksai on this show, and that was almost a year ago. So to those particular people, there is my double bird just for you. And yeah, and Hunter, thanks for your time out. There you go. Enjoy that.
You might want to turn your camera on if you're going to give him a double bird.
My camera's busted, so it's not going to happen. But just I am giving you the bird, just to make sure you know that. So, yes, again, thank you to Wrong Thinker. Much respect to you. Much respect to my panel for this evening. And, of course, everybody in YouTube. This has been War Commander Unshackled. And we're out of here, people.